Amazing. Rocky, want to see you.
I really don't think they flew 90 billion light years to start a fight.
Some sexual days so long gone, can't bring them back, no magic wand. Counting white cotton clouds, painted on the blue sky's crowd. And yet somehow that way it's baked with eternal hopeful flair. Pineapple pizza, Hawaii that's freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be a 3 days of you and me. I'm
sailing!
I just can't wait for 3 days of you and me.
He's been cited by Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, Benny Johnson, Timcast, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and even the U.S. government.
But soon they'll wake up to see the summer sizzles in me.
We're doomed. Will this never end?
Dire wolves back and so are you.
Oh yeah,
Belvedere flying so the moon.
oh yeah.
And everyone's singing just the right tune. Maestro blasting on the jazz flute.
We are all participating in mandatory fun activities.
Jelly bean bonus, every flavor in the bag. Super movie star, but first gotta join SAG.
Keep our eyes open.
Wonder Ken, super friend, where are you? Get a search warrant for the near clear blue.
It's scooping time.
And can't you believe that? We've been waiting on you, can't you see that? Put away the bad things they said to you.
You are a sad, strange little man. You have my
After all, just have to call and say you're some kind of
Because you are the special.
epic. Epic, yeah, that's what you do. I'm talking about epic, it's all you know how to do.
You wake up blue to
Epic, it's on repeat for you. Oh, epic. Epic.
Hear ye, come on, to the never stopping daily strife, and it's called simpler times, they beckon so, floating on the water with no phone. Can we get away now, find a way now, somehow step out of this stream into a dream of slow it down. Jay says that he remembers a place before the never, ever, ever river severed our tranquility. Counting cars by Highway 30, sitting in the porch swing, guessing colors so poorly. Yeah. Is the next one a blue or red one? Maybe silver, maybe gray. What a way to spend a day.
Ladies and
and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show! And Jonas, can I just tell you something here? It is never, may I repeat, Muted Jonas, it is never too hot to grill out. Get out there, folks, I don't care. The dogs are ready to be cooked, the hamburgers are ready to go. Happy 250th, and by the way, folks, Southeast Game Exchange is coming up. It's a beautiful Thursday, but it's going to be a great time at Southeast Game Exchange. We are in the month of July, and Zach's the brand new game that we're releasing in full. Well, it's getting close to ready now. Final touches are being made. Graphics are being what do you say? Made better. How's that? Increased, maybe. Jonas, you're still muted, man. Unmute yourself. And I'm rather proud at this point, Jonas, that we have created a game and programmed it to be able to run on a potato. I mean, this thing could run on a purple potato, and we've managed to have physics happening, like reactive grid bending and shimmers and all kinds of stuff happening. And you can see there's actually, even in the beta, there's a special event happening right now called the Summer Sizzle.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's not, nobody's playing it yet because, we haven't released the thing, but yeah, there's a summer event. There will be seasonal events all throughout the year in this game, and it's going to be on thatparkplace.com, available for people to play. We're releasing it for the very first time at Southeast Game Exchange. Jonas, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to play a little bit of it. I had to tell myself to get back to work, so I've gotten to see this from the early stages into what it is now, and I'm very impressed with what you've done here.
Well, thank you. Jonathan Watson also and his company, a huge part of this. We repurposed the music from Vacation Radio and New Rock Radio because YouTube doesn't seem to be very interested in radio stations right now. And we didn't want to have a channel go down. So instead, we just took all those wonderful audios and pumped them in the game. I got to say, Jonas, this is going to be probably the best soundtrack ever, especially for a little indie game. We're going to have hundreds of amazing songs worked on by yours truly and Ron Bradley. And we've got Jeremy Lara as somebody who's worked on this. And then a team from Nashville has worked on this. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of which, during the intro, there's a little joke I think that you put in there. You make the song says, "Step outside of a stream into a dream."
That's right. Of slowing down.
Right. Mm-hmm. But it's the intro to a stream.
Jay says that he remembers a time before the never ever ending river. I'd have to go back now and look at the lyrics again.
What are they counting?
Counting cars.
Counting cars.
Yeah, that comes from the idea, counting cars by Highway 30. That idea comes from, Jonas, you remember when you were a kid and you actually could sit around and do things like, stare at the clouds or guess what color the next car would be when it came, down the road and that kind of stuff. Okay. That's the idea is, in that song for the summer intro, the idea is how can we get back to that, that sense of wonder and just taking the world in. How can we do that? So,
well, I like it. I found myself trying to hum along to it last night, but I couldn't remember all the words.
We need to release that one. It's such a good song. All right, and speaking of releasing things, we need to release the panel, or at least our individual who's in the wings waiting. Jonas, shall we bring in a fantastic, phenomenal person who we love having on every chance we get?
Absolutely. Let's bring on the panelista perfecta. Welcome aboard, Nat. Oh wait, you were going to play a clip, weren't you?
No, you just got to hit the button, Jonas. Come on.
All right.
There we go.
Thank you for releasing me.
Panelista perfecta. That was an interesting way of saying it, eh? Nat, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. It's grammatically correct, actually.
Yeah, but he's got to flip those R's a little bit. Got to get the little going on, right?
Yeah.
One flip. All right. Yeah, not bad, Jonas. Not bad. Jonas, we've got a ton of super chats and we've got so much to go through today. And folks out there, when we say Hollywood is destroying America, it's not hyperbole. We've got an exclusive story. All right. Don't go anywhere. It's exclusive. And I know some of you right now are wanting us to talk about the Avengers thing that Flash is talking about. We'll see. We'll see if we talk about it today. Jonas, super chats, please.
Yep. All right. First of all, Lorem667 became a YouTube member. Welcome aboard, Lorem.
Happy to have you.
Yep. Juliet here for £2. Afternoon WDW Pro panel and pro rights.
It's a good afternoon because you're here, Juliet.
Yep. Let's see here. Packing protons for $5. I saw a video titled "How many days can I secretly live in Disneyland?" and the first few seconds came across to me as a paid advertisement. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I watched some of that you tagged me in on X, and Iraq is like in this post-production arms race. I can tell you from my days as a video editor, I would have absolutely hated to work for that guy. Not that the content's not great. It's just I feel like it is probably causing ADHD.
I'll tell you too, it would not be enjoyable. I don't know why people dream of this. It would not be enjoyable to try to hide at Disneyland or Walt Disney World and get to stay a bunch of days. You would be stinky and smelly. You would miss your bed so badly. So I'm not going to tell you to hide in the balls in Space Mountain queue. I'm not going to do that, folks. Don't do this kind of stuff, okay? Just go home and go to bed and come back the next day if you want to do that.
Yeah, he had a pretty good system working there. Although I think probably like the Mark Rober one, working with Disney to pretend like he broke into Disney with a camera or something like that. Packing protons for $2. Doomsday Script supposedly leaked. Which one?
Okay, so the interesting thing about this supposed script leak is it matches exactly a leak from before. Huh. So that either means one of two things, right? It either means that this is legit, or it means that somebody looked at the last one and said, well, what if I build on that and leak this out? I will tell you that if it's legitimate, it's not good for Marvel. And it's so bad that it makes me wonder if it's not legit, because surely the Russo brothers would not put out something like this. Nat, have you seen the leak by any chance? Supposed leak?
I haven't seen the leak, but I mean, again, wouldn't be surprised if, sadly or fortunately, if it is the real one and if it does seem as bad as it does.
If it's the real one, and I'll be careful what I say here, but if it's the real one, I think they've badly misread the room in terms of what people want. People are tired of their heroes being deleted, I would say.
So
I also say maybe they're just relying too much on the big names that they know they're going to have. So
yeah, it's like
I feel like they might not, like they don't care what happens.
Yeah, it's a carousel of here's a big group, here's a big group, here's a big ensemble. Now we delete them all.
Oh, good.
Sorry, Jonas.
I haven't read it. It came across my screen, and I literally I was squinting at it as I woke up, and I'm trying to wake up in the morning, and I do that bad thing where I check my phone first thing, and I get on X, and I just see this tiny wall of text, and I think, good for you, or I'm sorry, I'm not reading all that.
It matches the prior leak. I don't know if the prior leak was public. I don't know who all had access to the prior leak, but it matches it. I just don't know if that means it's legit or if it's somebody saying, what if I double the size of what was leaked before?
Mm-hmm. Packing protons for $5. Also, Pro doesn't like horror movies. You will be watching Pet Sematary this Halloween, sir.
Well, I'll tell you, I like Pet Sematary. To me, that's not a horror film. No, I don't like the blood and gut stuff. It just doesn't do anything for me. So, because I'm a man, I'm not scared of this stuff. I know it's all pretend. Like, it's hard for me to put myself in that position where I'm going to be like, eek, ooh, no. And, listen, you don't want to go see a horror film with me. I'm just going to be honest. It's not enjoyable. I ruin it. I ruin it for the entire theater because when they slash them, and the blood and everything, I laugh. You don't want a guy who goes in and laughs. You don't want that. They're snickering because I'm looking at the special effects and how they did it, and I'm just not into it. And it's, sometimes it's silly. And so I'm not the guy to go see a horror film. Not the guy. Jonas,
Sorry,
you muted.
Had my mute there. Pastor Air Conditioner for $2, spreading the good word about staying cool. Well, that's one religion that's being banned in the United Kingdom.
You're going to love today's show when we get to the third story. You're going to love it.
There is a heat wave outside, and I haven't noticed because I have my AC on.
Can I tell you, though, Jonas, and there are people listening right now who are outside, so be careful how you put that, but it's summer. It was hot last year in the summer. It's going to be hot again next year in the summer. I know that there's a heat wave, right? It's 3 degrees hotter than it is usually. And it was hotter in Europe 20 years ago when I was there. It was hotter. It was way hotter. And I can remember, many times where I am at in somewhere in USA where it was hotter than it is right now. It's summer. You're going to sweat when you go outside. We've had air conditioning before. We're going to have air conditioning again. Not in Europe, of course. But all this stuff, man, it is too much. The world has either become a bunch of ninnies or I don't know what's going on here. But folks, go jump in the pool. It's summer. Go live it up, man. You don't get to do this every month. There's like 3 months of this. Go out in the hot and have a good time and take care of yourself. Drink some lemonade. That's what the stuff is for.
Yep. Ruby Hove, member for 26 months. My goodness, that's a lot of months. Stay cool, folks. Like, subscribe, and share. And gifts 1 WDW Pro membership.
And I'm going to tell you this, Ruby, it's been a little bit since we've seen you, and I just want you to know it did not go unnoticed. Just seeing you in the chat makes us happy. Good to see you out there, Ruby.
Yep. Mark Fields for $5. I want to wish everybody a fantastic 4th. Positive vibes to you all. And I also wish you and yours be safe.
That's right.
And for $2 says the world needs more Godzilla Hawaiian t-shirts.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And Mark, I'll say this too. Get out there and enjoy a shaved ice. Shaved ice is much more nice when it's hot. It melts a little bit faster, but it's going to be great for you, okay? The milkshakes, that's a sometimes food, right? But go get a shaved ice. And the goal for this 4th of July, everybody, the goal that you have, you and yours have the same number of fingers and toes you had before, okay? Don't lose any on this Independence Day.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Yeah, Bald Hoplite member for 12. It's been a year. As an anniversary, I've upped from gold to diamond to support what adds value to my life. Pro, you're amazing. The Pro Show is a source of joy. Hope you know that. Love you, and this community can't wait for more.
It's why we get up every day with a smile on our face, getting to know that we get to do what we do. And by the way, folks, when we watch the intro and we have everybody's comments flowing in that intro, we think this is the kind of community that we would always want to be able to say comes to these shows. It's amazing. You all are the superstars. When we say it, we're not kidding. Happy birthday, Bald Hoplite.
Happy birthday!
Pastor Air Conditioner for $2. Keep my people on and cool as you want.
That's right. If it's not cold enough for a penguin, you don't have it low enough, folks.
Eric Stratton gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Look at that.
Oh, we've zoomed in. We've zoomed in. Eric Stratton, thank you, sir. And you know what? I feel like a clip is coming on. Jonas, I'm remembering we need to lower the volume on the Eric Stratton clip.
Kernak became a YouTube member. Welcome aboard, Kernak.
Welcome.
I appreciate you putting Tom Hanks back to regular size at the end of Big. Texas 84 gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, Texas.
God dang it. Thank you, Texas. You are, you're not a lone star around here. God dang it, you've got friends.
God dang it, from the bottom of our hearts here on the WDW Pro channel, thank you.
Bobby.
Oh.
Blah, blah, blah became a YouTube member. That has to be a rise.
That's right. That's a rank up.
Yeah. Thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Sorry. There's so many screens going today. Chef Eddie for $2. Where is the Magical Girl Jonas theme song?
Everybody wants to know.
That belongs to Caro Brown, and I have yet to receive a copy of it. 1 Magical Girl Pro for 2. May your 4th be sparkly and shiny. Happy 250.
Fireworks and sparkles and rainbows and sparkles and rainbows and smiley faces too, Charlie.
Scott Westbrook for gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate
Scott, you're what's hot today.
Hot Scott. Play Xenosaga for $2. Jonas look like Ian Grimwood from Trails from Zero. I am not familiar with this one.
Jonas, I think you need an avatar that's like a sumo wrestler. Like, go as big as you can, and let's just see what the comments are.
I think that's a good idea.
What are you
trying to say about my current avatar?
E Honda Jonas. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Gilliam 2 gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
And still nobody's punching bag.
All right. Wildman of Yavin, member for 31 months. England versus Ghana. World Cup. Sorry, I thought we were getting into something else here. June 23rd in Massachusetts. FIFA commentator, England historically has struggled here in Massachusetts.
Well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, the faux pas. Oh, the faux pas. All right, folks. Speaking of faux pas, maybe, I don't know, maybe this is not a faux pas. When we started this channel, oh, so long ago, back in the year of our Lord, 2023. That's right, folks. We've not been around for very long. We're just a little baby channel still. We're making our way to 250,000 subscribers, but we're still a little baby channel. But back then, we named this the WDW Pro channel. Now, over time, that name is, well, I don't know if it really is inclusive of everything we do here. So we're going to turn it into a game. This month, the month of July, we're going to be running a contest. It's going to open up later today on the community tab. Folks, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think the WDW in WDW Pro should stand for going forward? Whoever has the best one by the end of July is going to get a signed Pro hat and Pro Show mug, and we're going to send that to you to say thank you. But that's going to be the contest for the month. Let's find out, what should WDW Pro stand for from hithermore? Jonas, you got ideas?
Walter David Williams.
I told you never to say my name online. Nat, any idea what should it stand for, Nat? What do you think?
I just got to the world part. The world disaster watcher.
World devourer.
World disaster watcher.
All right. Well, speaking of devouring and destroying, let's destroy a beverage. How about that, folks? It's time to click it and sip it. You click the like button. We'll sip it all together. Nat, what are we drinking today?
I didn't find my mute button. Coffee.
All right.
As
Coffee.
always.
That's all right. I'm all on board the Coffee Express. Jonas, what do you got?
Got a strawberry lemon poppy today.
All right. Just be careful, okay? I don't want you to pull a Jesse off Saved by the Bell. All right. I don't want you to start singing. I'm so excited. You leave the caffeine pills alone, all right?
There's no caffeine in this. And also, I thought you were making a reference to what the other poppies make.
Oh, and folks, I'll have my shaken ristretto. 3, 2, 1. Let's do it together. That's A-okay with me. All right, folks, let's dive in. First story up out of the gate. Supergirl, not doing great. You know it. We know it. They know it. Everybody knows it. But guess what? They're not about to learn the right lesson from this. No, the Access Media is scrambling to come up with what it is we're all supposed to believe. We'll talk about it on the other side. Supergirl is a super flop. There's no doubt about it. But folks, the Access Media, the journos, the drive-bys, the going extinct dinosaur media, not learning the right lessons, I would say. Boy, we are in full-blown disaster. This makes the Marvels look good. Supergirl right now sitting at $72 million at the worldwide box office. The domestic is at 44. The international is now still not passing 30 million. This is crazy. And if we go down, it's amazing. They're slow now to report these on day 5, right? Where's July? Oh wait, still don't have it. But you can see it did get a slight pop after dropping 41%, 27%, 63%. When we got to the Tuesday matinees, it did go up 52% from where it was, but that was really darn low. And that was 4 million. And that's probably going to be it. This is going to continue to drop down, and we're going to be down in the point where it's making $1 million, $1.5 million, less than $1 million. And that begins to indicate that this movie, folks, is probably not going to hit 100 million at the domestic box office. Probably not. Let me say it again. Probably not going to hit the 100 million at the domestic box office.
This is where we cue one of those accounts on Twitter that says, well, the movie cost 100 million to make, so everything from here is profit.
You got to love it. So 44 million is where we are. And look at this. This is a 2-to-1 domestic to international. When I brought up the fact that China had shut this down, they yanked it out of the theaters. Holy moly. So the chances of 200 million, I think, are gone worldwide. 100 million probably gone domestically. And now this is going to be down in some of the worst tragedies we've ever seen in terms of film. So how is this being handled by the drive-bys? Well, we've got this out of Inverse. Supergirl proves this one misguided comic book strategy has failed. So, folks, if you were trying to figure out what is it that destroyed Supergirl, was it Miss Alcock, Millie, whatever her name is? No. Was it James Gunn? No. It was apparently being too darn accurate to the source material. Say what? And it's not even accurate to the source material. Come down here with me. It says Tom King's arc, written throughout 2021 and into 2022, by the way, superhero comics right now are as woke as they get, and they were back then as well. Follows Kara in the aftermath of her 21st birthday after a drunken bar fight leads to a chance encounter with Ruthie, an honor-bound young woman seeking vengeance against a space bandit, blah, 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 blah. To Supergirl's credit, talking about the movie now, it sticks to the story in the broad strokes. Krim massacres Ruthie's family. Supergirl comes to her aid as a result of a drunken bar fight. Krypto is poisoned, and the two of them embark on a journey to find their common enemy. And so what they've come away with for the reason Supergirl failed is that it stuck with the source material, and comic movies from here on out should not follow source material.
Wait. They're so close. They're so close. This is amazing.
This is the lesson to be learned, Jonas. This is the lesson they've come away with. More lessons. Tiffany Kelly out of Entertainment says Supergirl is a decent standalone movie. So why is everyone acting like it's awful? Despite what the reviews and backlash may lead you to believe, the second film in the DC universe is an enjoyable adventure. The lesson here that we're told from Entertainment is that, you can do standalone films. Standalone films are okay inside a comic book universe, but you need to stand by your standalone films. You don't need to let people pummel them. You need to take a stand and say, this is a standalone film, darn it. And that's why it failed, was DC didn't stand behind it, Nat. This is amazing.
It's funny because I think I'm the target audience and I have no interest in watching it or even really knowing much about it. Like all I've heard about it is just the negative backlash that I see online, but I've refused to go see it because I don't want to be wow, I was losing my voice. I don't want to be DC wants to silence me. I don't want to be once again disappointed by a superhero movie that I used to like. I used to like superheroes, and it's been my interest in them has almost been completely destroyed. And I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Nat, women and women all across the world didn't go see it, and then the Chinese audience didn't go see it. So you're exactly, I think, representative of what's happening here to this movie. The lessons that are being learned, though, are insane. The access media has no idea what to say about this. In fact, I would say, I believe that some of these journos know what did this. They just don't want to say it. So they're coming up with excuse after excuse. This one, though, I think is the creme de la creme of cringe. Beat staff over at the Beat Comics Culture. They wouldn't even put a name on this. It's just, who is it by? Well, it's by the staff. Supergirl raised the bar for Hollywood supporting comics.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, Greg Katzman. It's got to, boy, we got to get this congruent, guys. Greg Katzman writes this, says DC Studios' Supergirl has soared into movie theaters around the Daily Planet. Just like the release of any other major comic book movie, the initial conversation is primarily revolving around the box office results. No, I don't think this is like any other movie, Jonas. I don't think so.
Just like previous dinners, the conversation centers around whether or not people have had enough to eat.
That's right. It says, while director Craig Gillespie and writer Anna Niguiri's movie may not have soared to new heights at the box office, it did successfully set a new standard for how Hollywood and the respective comic book publisher DC supports and celebrates the source material. Now, this isn't to say other comic book movie studios, film creatives, and publishers haven't made efforts to spotlight the comics, but respectfully, Supergirl has seemingly soared above all previous efforts. In fact, it feels like DC has truly been a leader in this regard, even prior to Gunn taking the helm. So the lesson here is stick with the source material, go at it even harder. And if you lose the box office, who cares? Who cares? You did the right thing. You were virtuous, Supergirl. Way to go, James Gunn. You stood behind what is a total and utter disaster. Nat, Jonas, can we perhaps take a stab at telling the access media what really destroyed Supergirl? Because they're not getting it. So what is it that wiped out this franchise?
I'd say their own ideology. They don't want to listen to the things they've been hearing for the past 10 years. They just call it hate and that people don't like them and it's a personal attack, but it's not. It's the audience telling them exactly how to make money and them doing exactly the opposite. So if they don't want to listen, then they'll just continue to have the exact same results.
I'm with you there. I don't understand why they would do a Supergirl movie and then refuse to make it interesting to the kind of people that would be interested in a Supergirl movie. So believe it or not, I think that a lot of the appeal of Supergirl is actually the feminine appeal to male comic book readers. So you take a character that is supposed to be traditionally attractive and you say, well, what if she was a drunk who wouldn't be worthwhile in a relationship and has no friends? And who wouldn't love that? Who doesn't fantasize about getting with that, you know?
I'll tell you this. The reason the access media, I believe, is coming up with all of these lame excuses that nobody believes, they don't even believe this stuff, is because we told them the excuses before the movie came out. We explained it to them. We told them what was going to happen. We told them how it was going to happen. We told them why it was going to happen. And then it happened. And they told us, no. This is going to be this. Listen, this is an anthem film. Females, viewers are going to skyrocket for James Gunn. DC's doing just fine. And then the decline is here, and they can't say, well, according to Critical Drinker, according to Yellow Flash, according to Nerdrotic, according to WDW Pro, according to Valiant Renegade. They can't do that. They can't come out and say, these guys called it. They can't come out and say, they had it the whole time. They were right. Good on them. That's not allowed. And that's why they're saying out loud a bunch of absolute nonsense to try to save their derrieres. But the truth is, audiences don't even care anymore. They are literally writing to each other. Because audiences aren't reading this. You think audiences that didn't go see Supergirl are sitting at home now being like, let's go find an article that explains why we didn't go see it. You know why you didn't go see it. And don't tell me you went and saw it. I had to go see it. None of you were there. I had to go see it for a review. Let me tell you, it was a bad movie. It was a very bad movie with 2 other people in the theater. Woof. Woof. All right, folks, that's where we are right now. They're scrambling, trying to figure out what's going to be the narrative around Supergirl. The narrative is this. Supergirl was bad, DC is sad, and James Gunn, likely, is done. And he's here, ladies and gentlemen. He's here. It's Ron Coleman.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, Ron. I'm doing better now that you are here. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. And nice to meet you, Nat.
Nice to meet you too.
Ron,
the guy is not with us today.
What's that?
No, he's sitting over there.
Sitting off screen, producing to the extreme.
He's with you, but he's not with us.
True.
Now, Ron, what is your temperature set at the moment? Are you doing okay? Is your air conditioning running well?
Well, it's funny you should say. At home, it is running great. It is. The things we take for granted in this country, air conditioning, and my house was built in 1935, 36, so we had to retrofit it to get central air conditioning in there, but worth every soffit.
That's right.
I mean, God, what a lifestyle. So it's 100 degrees here in northern New Jersey, and it's only 12:30. But the house is great. No, I'm in an office that is converted from a hotel that's even older than my house in Newark, New Jersey, called the Robert Treat Center. It used to be the Robert Treat Hotel. And they built a new Robert Treat Hotel and turned this one into offices. There's no thermostat for the offices here. There's just a fan setting. In other words, and I imagine you could install thermostat to do it because it's just you could turn it on or off depending on the temperature. In other words, there's no technical reason, I think, instead of having a fan switch. But in any event, I have to manually adjust it. But it's blowing heavy. It's hot as hell here. And I would say that if someone were to suggest to me that I were to set it at 78 degrees, I would say thank you for the suggestion. I think that it would be great if that works for your policy, but for me personally, that's pretty much like not having the air conditioning in.
I think Spencer Pratt said it best. Show us your thermostat, commie.
Ron, what do you bet the temperature is going to be set on for Madison Square Garden for T-Swift? Do you think that wedding is going to be sitting there at a balmy 80 degrees, mascara running everywhere? I don't think that's the way it's going to work.
I don't think so. A number of people pointed out, it isn't crazy for Mondani to make the suggestion. Again, his job is to avoid a blackout.
Sure.
I remember some of the great New York City blackouts, including the one from the 60s. I mean, they're really antisocial events. They don't just spoil your day. They can. Packing protons is reminding us that yes, of course. So if you lead a political subdivision, why should you be any worse than Jimmy Carter, right? Who was once president of the United States, and now is more appropriately situated. He also wanted us to use less energy. I mean, it's a strain on the grid. Let's face it. We're backfilling infrastructure big time in this part of the world. The number of people who live where I live in Clifton, New Jersey, the Pearl of Passaic County. When we moved there 35 years ago, there were all these brownfields. In other words, it was kind of suburban city. It's not really a suburb. It's really a small city outside the big city, New York. And then there were all these light industry places and brownfields, which have all in the last 30 years become either retail or rather dense housing, like townhomes. That's thousands of people who are on the grid, who weren't on the grid even 30 years ago. So, it's a big ask, and 100 degrees is really hot as hell. So, let political leaders make their suggestions. I guess the joke here really is no one's going to listen to the suggestion. Everyone's going to set it on what makes them comfortable and what they can afford. So is there something perhaps vain or like what is achieved politically or socially by making such an objection, to making a suggestion that's essentially absurd?
What makes Europeans feel a little bit better? They were having a hard time. Ron, I think that energy production correlates pretty closely to abundance and to wealth. And so I say let's get some more energy going. I don't care how we obtain it. But in just a little bit, we'll talk about how energy was destroyed for New York. And that might be part of the problem right now.
In other words, the shutdown of the nuclear plant.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. And who was behind that? It's very interesting that Hollywood may have been behind it. But first, I want to talk about your story that you put out. Jonas, before we go to Ron's article that he's got on the Substack, could you perhaps, sir, put up a small smorgasbord of super chats?
Sure. Well, I was just going to point out that there are some people who had suggestions for what WDW stands for.
You know what? We haven't started the contest yet, but put them up on the screen. What do we got, Jonas?
We got Whole Different World.
A Whole Different World.
Will That's Wild.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Walt Disney World Pro, very innovative. That one.
I don't know.
That's a technology company that's trying to make their way in the world.
Yeah.
World Domination Wax Glue Pro.
Wait a minute. Where'd the G come from?
Wizards Defying Wonderful. LOL. Okay. White Dudes Whining. Accurate.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Don't you go past that. You leave that up for a minute. You know why? Oh, Cranky Casino out there. Cranky Casino.
That he is. Colehauser says, yo. That's really not part of the contest, man. I don't know. World's Dorkiest Wombats.
Okay. Yeah, that's appropriate.
Wilton Destroys World Pro. Mm-hmm.
I think that's given.
Wide Deep W. Yep. Wonderful Day Welcome. Wandering Despicable Welcome.
Wandering Despicable Welcome. Okay, well, we're getting started, folks. I'm liking the direction. We'll see what we get, but whoever comes up with what WDW is going to stand for, free signed cap and mug coming on the way. End of July, we're going to run this contest the whole month. Can't wait to do it. Jonas, Super Chats now, please, sir.
Tender Warrior gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
Ron, you're going to dip. We'll bring you right back. 3, 2, 1. Here comes Ron. Told you we do that. Magic of StreamYard, eh? Tender Warrior, thank you. And here is your clip.
Then Wildman of Yavin gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
It was a peaceful planet until he arrived. Then he brought wild to our skies.
Chef Eddie for 5. Steve has a video for you, Magical Girl Pro, and your counter is broken. We already hit the goal.
Oh, no. Okay, you had me until it's 50 today, so
yeah.
we'll...
Yeah. A Turn of Praise. I like that name for 35 South African Ren. Greetings from a chilly South Africa. But I think they say South Africa.
As they say at this time of year, it's chilly in Chile.
Do they say that?
They do, of course. Everyone says that. Jonas, have you not heard that before?
No, I had not heard that.
It's Arctic in Argentina. Everybody says these things. Everybody.
Patrick Ganaway gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
Chemical sunshine. Professor says pay no mind.
I'm still deeply worried that's Henry Cavill.
Looks a lot like Cavill.
That did look like a lot like Henry Cavill. Yes.
We're in trouble, boys.
Colehauser for $2. Jonas isn't having milk and cookies. LML JK.
It's every time. I don't know.
I've got no idea what Jonas is doing.
Milk and cookie man.
Well, that was when I said I was drinking a strawberry lemon poppy. So
that sounds pretty good. Pretty gay, but pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it's my only option for soda right now. One Magical Girl Pro for $2. Heart the chat. Check your DMs, Jonas.
What are you talking about? That's your only possible soda. Go get a seltzer water. Put a little lime in it.
I think I'd rather be gay.
Oh boy.
Patrick Ganaway for $5. Didn't the Access Media initially pan Supergirl? Yes, they did, but they figured out that we loved that it was failing,
and then they hated it that we hated it, and they had it. We've played them in every single way. By the way, the reason we believe that they didn't like Supergirl has more to do with their relationship with James Gunn, because he dared criticize the trades.
Willie Watch for 5. Speaking of, anyways, how do they keep doing this without being profitable? Is it Jeff Bezos' ex-wife giving $26 billion to charity? Man, look at all the good she's done in the world. All those billions of dollars. That really proves that we need to tax trillionaires or whatever and give that to the government. So that those billions can fix everything.
In the case of some of these studios, what happens is they have so many flops and failures, but they have enough films that do exceedingly well, the very few blockbusters that get them to about even, but they haven't been profiting the way that they used to. And so for all the numbers that Disney spouts off and says, hey, we've got this amount, Toy Story is trying to pick them out of Hoppers and Mandalorian Grogu. So it's Toy Story and Devil Wears Prada. And then ultimately, at the end of the summer, we'll find out where they are based on the Moana live action. So they could be in the hole at the end of this, but they'll put out the headlines that say that they've had the biggest year ever, because they won't talk about their expenses. And then that all is subsidized by essentially Walt Disney World, which is their biggest revenue source, period.
It's true. Juliet for £2. World Cup, Wimbledon weather. Why no one in cinemas? Is the World Cup weather in Wimbledon actually good? Do they have air conditioning in the cinemas over there? I mean,
if your local cinema has air conditioning, it's the place to be. Trust me, that or the pool.
I mean, that's how it was in Hill Valley. So, Pro, I think, you want to keep going, or we want to hit the story while we have...
We need to hit the stories, and I'll tell you this too, folks. We hate to leave you waiting, especially if you send in a larger super chat, but time is fleeting, and Ron Coleman is the kind of guy that we want to know what he has to say. Folks, let's dive into his latest story out of Substack, where he's talking about this assembly line of sequels and Disney perhaps blowing everything in terms of brand equity that they built up over a century. On the way out the door, Bob Iger was sure he had a winning strategy, and one Ron Coleman on the panel right now is taking that on with an article called "The Fallacy of Abundance. Abandonment turns out the bare necessities. Look for those. Included quality control." It says, let's start by being fair to Disney. At some point earlier than a lot of other companies, it realized that leveraging intellectual property is the best business there is. You make a character once, people fall in love with it, they pay you for iterations and stuff that delivers that character more or less forever. On the screen, on the lunchbox, on the bed sheets, on a $9 churro in Orlando. Rinse and repeat across generations. And no money center bank ever owned more of these little ATMs than Disney, or had built anything like the apparatus Disney built around them. Parks, cruises, streaming, licensing, spin-offs, remakes. So the studio could afford to miss in a way nobody else could. When you can bankroll a movie with the line for Space Mountain, you can eat a box office flop that would put a normal studio into Chapter 11. So when Disney decided...
You just referred to.
We're on the same page.
Just talking about that cross-subsidization. That's right.
It says, so when Disney decided it could take the library it spent 9 years building and retrofit it for modern audiences, recast it, reboot it, lecture it, the decision was far from crazy. It was canny as hell. The company had a vault stuffed with goodwill, and history showed it could draw on that vault approximately forever. This goes on to talk about, Ron, how the strategy that they came up with actually did not succeed in the long run and has decreased the value of their brands. Ron, walk us through what it is your thesis about Disney, and what should people be looking forward to reading out of the article here?
The thesis is that this is another an example of something that we see throughout modern society, and it's not unique to modern society, but it's more prevalent in modern society because I call it the fallacy of abundance. This idea that there is a well of, whether it's brand equity or financial equity or professional competence or military strength, we have so much of something that we don't have to invest in it, that we don't have to worry about replenishing it, about upgrading it. We can afford DEI. We can afford to have people who've only ever been an actress write their first ever movie in a major for a major studio, with a $100 million plus budget. We can afford that because we're floating on air. Money grows from trees. It's not merely the fact that these are bad decisions. They're premised on this idea that we can never go broke. We can never run out of what it is that makes us so wealthy. And you, as I said at the beginning of the article, you can always assume, if you're Disney, that Mickey Mouse will always be Mickey Mouse and the Marvels will always be the Marvels. And they have gone out of their way, as I've discussed on your show so many times, and Valiant's. These guys have demonstrated that you can, in fact, run out of brand equity by destroying the brand. They're drawing, it's an economics metaphor because that was my major in college, and it gave me a way of looking at the world. They're drawing on principle instead of equity. When you have equity like the Disney catalog, all the IP they own, you should be living off interest. You should be living off the fruits of that equity, not destroying it. And when you do these race swaps and these gender swaps, or just plain release garbage content that you believe by virtue of franchise power, and in fact, I use the metaphor in the article of a franchise. If you buy a McDonald's franchise and you decide not to follow the standard operating procedures for making a Big Mac, Because you figure, listen, well, I could just put cardboard in there. Why should I put beef in there? They're going to buy it anyway because it says McDonald's, right? Well, that will work for the first couple of days. But you're harming McDonald's and you're harming yourself, because what you're doing is you're separating the customer expectation of quality from the experience. That it's impossible not. I mean, and the irony of what happened with Supergirl is this wasn't even a particularly good property. This wasn't a franchise property. This was a marginal property, but they couldn't resist to act as if it were still 2021, 2022. And I know that the scripts and the productions go back years, but I mean, to release this movie in 2026 after what we saw happen to Snow White and after what's happened in the Marvel universe, to be so tone deaf and to think that it's okay, it's the DC franchise. What could go wrong? We see what could go wrong. It doesn't just ruin this movie. It ruins the entire enterprise. And I mean, again, like when we get to that point, I'm saying stuff that you guys have been saying for years, including back in the days when WDW stood for Walt Disney World.
Who knows, Ron? It's a mystery. I don't know if that's true, but Ron, I'm going to ask you about this, okay? So in the Chiron below, I'm talking about the issue with woke, right? It says the cost of woke. And so I want to ask you about that in combination with what you're talking about, because it seems to me that partly why they've had to depend so heavily on these franchises that they built up over a century, right? And all this goodwill. Snow White is not something they went back to the well again over and over. They had it. People liked it. They used it in the parks, but they didn't keep making a lot of Snow White movies. Suddenly, when they went into this woke era, this postmodern neo-Marxist era, where they hired a lot of people who no longer believed in traditional storytelling, they wanted to invert the hero's journey. They didn't want to tell the kinds of tales that we've been telling for thousands of years. And when that happened, Ron, suddenly all the new content basically failed. I mean, there have been a few exceptions like Encanto and Moana, maybe Coco, but the vast majority of these things have gone the way of Strange World and Lightyear, and people utterly rejected it. So, Ron, I think that the woke aspect of this is what caused a lot of these companies to have to go back to what they had built over 100 years and just squeeze that dry, just absolutely milk that to no end. And I think that is what has been so damaging, is the necessity, the need for the assembly line of sequels as a part of, we can't make new content and we don't have people who know what to do with new content.
You're 100% right. And the only reason you can be insulated. See, here's the thing. You might decide that that's something you need to do because this year we need a Superman movie. So it'll be Supergirl. Fine. That's short-term thinking. That's bad economics. That's bad management. And you've been on panels with me, and I've discussed this with Valiant many times. And I've also asked this to others on my own show who are business people and economically oriented. Why do boards of directors let this happen? It's bad management. It's not good sense. And in the case of Disney, it happens because they're insulated by the cash flow. If they were running a real business, if it were a McDonald's franchise and the customers started dropping off, and the equity owner, which is different, that's in a real franchise, right? In a real franchise, the franchisee, I mean, maybe I've actually thought of an interesting angle on this as I'm talking to you. In a real franchise, the franchisee and the franchisor are not the same person. So they have different incentives to protect the brand, but those interests converge. Here, the board of directors is supposed to be the franchisor. They're supposed to be the guys who say, we're not going to let you make these bad decisions and just let woke run the operation, because we are the stewards of the property.
Right. I think this has to go back to that interference level of too much bureaucracy. The whole Wall Street model is probably to blame for most of our entertainment woes right now, because you get a bunch of people that are interested in other things other than profit. You can get people coming in, and these business managers who say, yeah, we're going to go for this new segment of the population because there's going to be more gays, or which is pretty much the McKinsey promise there when they come in and say something like this. Or Larry,
and then you have activists like BlackRock, right? And and they're the guys writing the checks. They're the institutional investors. So you would expect in economic theory that they would be the ones who would be the least inclined to say, put your brand on the line.
Exactly.
And so why don't they? Because of the fallacy. Because of the fallacy that we can afford. We are enlightened, and we can afford to not maximize profits. I mean, there's something. I mean, let's put it this way, Jonas. You just said they're interested in other things besides profits.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, movie studios used to be accused, when they were independent, of being interested in something other than art, and of course they were. They were businesses. They made tremendous profits, and they always will. The profits, but the further you get from that guy who really does care about the profits, like you said, there's this bureaucracy, and then there's not only an internal bureaucracy, and as I've said many times when it comes to Disney, there's both an internal bureaucracy and a very, very acute culture of woke that is grassroots fed in that particular organization. They have all these other interests, and what enlightened person, including students of economics such as myself, hasn't said, wouldn't it be great if you didn't always make artistic decisions based on absolutely maximizing profit? And there's something to that. You know, what if instead of making $500 million on a movie, you made $480 million on a movie, and it was $20 million better? And, you know, we in economics, I'm not an economist, I'm a lawyer, but in economics, they say, you know, how can you measure what they call utiles, units of goodness, other than in money? And we try to find ways to do that. It's hard to capture. One way you can capture it is by saying, if I make a better movie, I build the brand, I build the equity in the brand, so that next time I've got a better product that I can actually draw more fruit from, that I can get more interest from, that spins off more. But what we've done instead is said, nah, our well is so deep that we can keep pulling from it and pulling from it and pulling from it, and we can achieve other things. And going back to your main point, we can achieve things that have absolutely nothing to do with the creative and nothing to do with profits, but have to do with social urges and sociological phenomena that we want to be part of. And a response to that might be, remember when we talked about the Gina Carano case, and Disney's argument was we wanted to fire her, and we should have been allowed to fire her under California law because she was hurting our brand with the mean things she was saying. She was hurting our brand. So all right, but the point is, there is an argument that says if we do woke things, people are going to love our brand more. They're going to love our brand. So, Ron, what do you mean drawing down on the equity? We're building the equity. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because they lost touch with what they were doing. The creativity, they forgot who their audience was. And they forgot that ultimately it's the audience that makes this decision, not college professors and not the access media, and not even, you know, a Nerdrotic and Pro and, you know, all the guys and Nat. It's the audience, the people who do or don't show up at the theaters. They blew that, and they did it because they assumed that it didn't matter.
So let's talk about that theory. And I think we're watching it happen right now, Nat. Moana was a huge hit for Disney. I think it came out in 2016. That would have meant that it went into production before the woke era, 2013-ish, 2012. And it was the most streamed movie, not just on Disney Plus, but on any stream platform for years. I mean, this was the top girls brand. And Bob Iger decided, well, what if we take a TV show we've been working on and we just retrofit that into a movie? And it was very poorly received, but it made more than $1 billion. So this goes to Ron's point. That movie economically is a giant triumph in terms of brand equity. It was devastating. Now they're coming out, Nat, with this one, the live action Moana, the next year with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and all that. And this is looking like it's going to be an utter disaster for Disney. So this speaks to that exact phenomenon that Ron's talking about.
And so does his career.
Well, that too. But Nat, what are your thoughts on this idea? Maybe they need to hire Ron as a consultant and say, wait a minute. It's not just about short-term financial gains. It's about the long-term brand equity.
True. And I also think in a way, in talking about, for example, and I like the idea that they are destroying their actual equity and how much money they can make. But I think they also made, and many businesses, not just Disney, but a lot in Hollywood, made this decision of, instead of also just focusing on or finding the answer in, oh, they're just doing it for profit, or they're also kind of ideologically power tripping. So they want to use these franchises to as a vehicle to bring in their new ideology, mostly Marxist and communist, and the new ideas that they've had and that they've been taught themselves by the education system that has also been captured. So it's been like a snowball effect where now beloved franchises are also being used for ego and power trips of the people that have gotten into those positions of power by almost force, I would say. And that is also why the public and the equity doesn't come, because people are not interested in that, but they think that people will be, because it's coming through the vehicle of a beloved franchise. For example, in Snow White, or in Moana as well, I would say. And with this one, I think now they kind of got used to using those things that were very successful to just continue to message ideologically without noticing that the public fully now almost has moved on from that. But they think it's still going to work.
And Jonas, all of this, and great points, Nat, all of this was made possible by the idea, perhaps to some degree correct, that Walt Disney himself had created a couple of things that are irreplaceable and they're unique, right? So Walt Disney World is the size of Manhattan. It's 40 square miles, maybe twice the size of Manhattan, honestly. And there's a once a generation kind of thing where people feel like, I got to take my daughter, I got to take my son down Main Street, USA. We got to see the castle. And so I think this company was seen as particularly unique in that it offers some things that maybe people are not willing to part with, even if this was used to socially engineer. Was that part of this as well, Jonas?
I think, even Iger has used that argument of the brand deposits and brand equity and all of that. And if we are using the economic principle here, they essentially made it clear to the audience somewhere around 2021 that we're taking everything out of the bank because we think we can do better with our current ventures at this point. They stopped drawing interest. And they stopped that compounding, and they made it clear they're starting from scratch on all of that universal goodwill. And I would agree with what you said before, Pro, about they do need someone like Ron at the top of the company. And, I think that's an innovative idea to have a Jewish person as a media executive.
Jewish person who doesn't go to the movies.
It's about darn time, I say. It's about darn time. Folks, it's a fantastic Substack. Get over there and subscribe right now and read the article, Abandonment. You are going to, I think, have keen insight into what is going on with Hollywood. Ron, final thoughts on this particular issue?
If it were just about show business, I would say this is the best possible thing for the country. Hollywood has done so much damage. And if it all had to be built up from the ground up again, I think that would be fantastic. The problem is the fallacy of abundance is what operates our politics and our social choices. And we've got to start realizing that the world that we live in and the things that we enjoy didn't come out of nowhere. Air conditioning being one of them.
Pixie dust and air conditioning, folks. That's what Ron's telling us about today.
It's time for fake wizard, real fighting. It's time for battle so
What is this
exciting.
madness?
When
You shall not
enemies
pass.
are all enticing. Real fake wizard, bring the lightning.
Well,
Wow. what an introduction.
wow. Jonas, did you know you and I hit the same button at the same time?
I didn't realize. I apologize.
Oh, that could have accidentally gone very badly if we had looped that on. Wiz, welcome, buddy. How you doing?
How we doing? Good to be here.
Good to have you. I thought we were going to have Ron for one more segment, but it looks like he's dropped. But Wiz, I think you'll do A-okay with this one. Jonas, we've got some super chats, and I'd like to get straight to it because our thesis today is that Hollywood is actually harming America, and there is no better segment than what we're about to cover when it comes to New York City. So let's get to it. First, some super chats.
Yeah, I agree. Hollywood is full of theses.
Ew.
Albertus Magnus for $10. It is profitable to make good movies people pay to see. It is not profitable to make money losing trash and gaslight the public. Yet here we are. Why? What is their true end game? Rhetorical question.
I'm gonna differ on this slightly. I'm gonna say that it is possible to make money with trash and gaslighting the public, but it's only possible once or twice. Captain Marvel is a great example of that. Captain Marvel, they gaslit, they gave trash. Then people caught on, the equity was destroyed, it damaged Marvel, and by the time we got to the Marvels, completely different situation. So, Albertus, they can get away with it once, right? That's the whole, the old adage, fool me once, right? So.
Agreed. All right. Bad News Badger for 50 Danish crowns. They took a female Hancock and put her in a Superman costume. Maybe they should have called it Sophie and recycled the Hancock script. I like
Maybe
Hancock,
so.
kind of. I mean, I haven't gone back to watch it since the first time I watched it, so maybe I didn't like it that much, but I didn't mind that movie. But it was about him being bad and getting better, so maybe.
How bad can I be? Keep going.
Let's see here. Packing Protons for $10. New Twitter trend, reeking news. KFC will stop offering its physical formats starting today. Its products can only be consumed through its app in fake PNG format. I love it because PlayStation deserves to be mocked for abandoning physical. I hate it. I'm using the word hate here in describing the policies of a video game company. I hate it.
I think, too, we need to give big kudos to Domino's. I think Domino's started this. We'll read this one. Domino's official statement. In response to trends in the gaming industry, as of the 1st of April, 2027, Domino's UK will cease production of physical pizzas and shift to production of digital pizzas only. Consumers will be able to download our full range of delicious pizza codes and, using the power of imagination, enjoy them in an entirely virtual sense.
Didn't they also go after God of War Laufey?
Maybe. I just want to know where's Five Guys at on this? You know,
I don't know, but I if you're allergic to peanuts or don't have unlimited resources, you're probably not a frequent Five Guys customer.
Five Guys, Steak and Shake. They usually have based accounts. Let's go, everybody, get on this. Let's mock them into oblivion. Fake Wizard, you are not a fan, and Lauren, boy, he was on a tear last night about this. I think everybody should be appalled at the idea of physical media going away because then we own nothing.
We've been talking about it. I'm shocked that it got here so soon. I mean, it was a year ago. The Switch 2 game key card was a big controversy. I'm shocked it was 1 year later.
You know, I think that when everything is digital, eventually everything's free. R.R. Smith for $10. I so love it.
R.R. Smith, you mean Jonas?
Yeah. Yeah. Forgive me hearties. I so love it when you have Ron Coleman on. He explains everything so well for me.
And he does so to the Supreme Court from time to time. So quite the man, quite the man.
A man. He's a man. He's a man. He's packing protons for $5. New Jersey governor wants us to lower our air temps as well.
just to make Europe feel better about themselves. I'm going to tell you what happened in just a minute. Hang tight. This next segment is going to make at least our American viewers very, very angry at those in charge.
It's so rare for Americans to be angry as well.
We're so happy and pleasant all the time.
It is rare. It is a rarity.
Yeah. A turn of praise for 70 South African Rand. Just do what we do here in South Africa, have perpetual rolling blackouts to save the environment.
I saw a video, somebody from South Africa who was walking through, and I think it was Savannah, Georgia, a park, and they were talking about there are squirrels here. There are women without people protecting them. Like the wildlife is not afraid that it's going to be eaten by a starving human anytime soon. This is amazing. This is incredible. And I thought, maybe Americans need to take some time to be grateful for what we have, because and other countries too that are in a great place, because it's not that way everywhere. It's not that way everywhere.
It's truly not. They do say that, well, Americans would be informed by an international perspective. Usually they mean you go visit the communist countries over in Europe. No, go see the third world and then appreciate how good you got it here. Mark of Reality, member for 7. I had 3 other people at the Supergirl opening.
2 for me.
Are you counting the projectionist?
The guy up on the projector. Oh boy.
It could have been a girl. Archer Merchant for $2. Odyssey being downvoted is hilarious. No lie.
It's going to be what is that? 2 weeks from now? Man. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
Game Exchange that weekend.
That's right. I would rather go see you guys than go see the Odyssey.
By the way, speaking of the Game Exchange, Wiz, you've not seen the latest from, this is the demo play right now taking on Zax. You haven't seen the latest stuff we're working on. It's quite impressive that this can run on basically any device and will be available for free in about, 3 weeks right after Southeast Game Exchange. Wiz, are you excited about what we've got coming for audiences out there?
Oh man, it's going to be a really good show. We're putting on. There's a lot happening. You won't be bored. Let me put it that way. You won't be bored. There is so much to do. Yeah, man. This is great. I mean, I being able to play Zax when you guys started building it all the way to now, and it's grown a lot.
It's come a long, long way. I'll tell you that, and we're looking forward to bringing it to people. I think we should do a physical media release, even though it's free and it's going to be available on a website. I think we should release it on cartridges. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I bet I can get this to run on NES. I can at least get this to run on a Sega Genesis.
Let's see here. We got Detailed Devil for 5. Yes, anthropogenic anthropomorphic climate change is real. That would be the characters in Captain Planet. Sure, I'm sad for Tuvalu, etc. But can we try to adapt to weather versus protest like old man yelling at cloud?
Can we save this super chat? This is one of my favorites of all time. The difficulty that Detailed Devil just sent us through for this super chat, and yet it makes perfect sense. Well played, Detailed Devil. Well played.
Yeah, and
Detailed Devil.
That's right.
Yep. The first Dragon Queen for 5. Widely divisive white dudes or whole dorky whales. Hugs for all.
Whole dorky whales.
What's the difference?
That's right.
What pro? Burnouts or Burnouties for 5. Young Washington from Angel Studios. Give them another chance after Animal Farm or never again. Ooh, that's a very good question.
I will be seeing it tonight.
Yeah, Angel Studios is the distributor, not the producer on this, right, Wiz?
That's right.
Okay.
The Angel Studios doesn't really produce anything.
Right.
They're just the distributor.
Yep. So I say give it a chance. I mean, listen, I'm not, I would hate for somebody to do a good job. I don't know that it's a good job yet. Wiz will tell you on his channel, but I would hate for somebody to do a great movie, and just because the distributor, we don't go see it. So let's see how this pans out.
Yep. Turn to praise for 35 South African Rand. Whoa, dude, whoa.
Whoa, dude, whoa, pro. Now, Wiz, I don't think you know this. We're running a contest all through the month of July to find out what does WDW stand for in WDW Pro. Whoever wins gets a signed pro hat and a signed pro show cup mug. So who knows, Wiz? You might be the guy who takes the lead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to think on that.
All right.
Whoa,
dude. Whoa. I like that one the most so far.
Doge Pal for $2. There's no infinite money glitch. Someone tell Wiz.
Hey,
there is, and the Ellisons have it.
Irate Specialist for $2. Wisdom delivered weekly when Steve's on.
We got to listen. Steve was supposed to be on earlier this week, and oh no, that's WDW, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Steve was supposed to be on, and his Canadian internet did not allow him to join us one day earlier this week. So poor Steve, folks. We're gonna get him back real soon.
Yep. A turn of praise for 35 South African Rand. Wookiees don't woke.
No, they don't.
Best to let the Wookiees
They
win.
do, though.
Jonas, let's jump to let's jump to the bottom two in the queue, and then we'll come back and get the rest of the super chats on the other side of this next news segment. But we need to be moving along, sir.
All right, Googa Mooga. Rowan of Strata for $50. Do you hear the fandom singing the songs of angry fans? It is the music of the viewers who will not be duped again. When the beating of your heart echoes the clacking of the keyboards, there's change that will start when tomorrow comes.
Jonas, I feel like there's a song playing in my head right now. I feel like this needs to be set to music. Could you
like? Yeah. One day more, and I'll have some music for you.
Jonas, it's a $50 super chat. Can you just give us a line or two? We know you've got those.
I'm going to tell you, I came to Les Miserables later in life, and I don't actually know the tune to.
Oh, because I was going to say you're quite the singer. People don't know that.
No.
Could you give it to us then as Morgan Freeman? Just the first two sentences.
All right. Do you hear the fandom singing the songs of angry fans? It is the music of the viewers who will not be duped again. When the beating of your heart echoes the clacking of keyboards, there's change that will start when tomorrow comes.
Now I feel like we did this super chat well.
Oh my.
We did it well.
Weird Darkness official for $50. What if we mandate everybody open their doors and windows at the same time all over the country and blow really hard into the air? That'd cool things down so long as we forbid Washington, D.C. from participating. That'd just be a lot more hot air.
Sounds like the kind of physics lesson that would come from Hollywood. Is what if we all just opened our doors and turn the AC? We can lower the climate change. Everybody together. Oh, boy. That's not far off, though, from the silliness that we're about to talk about. Get ready. But that silliness is causing suffering all across NYC. Thank you, Weird Darkness. Thank you, Rowan. And let's dive in. We've got Wiz here just for this one. It's a heck of a story, folks. It's a heck of a tale. It is how Hollywood came in and made so many suffer. And who is behind it all? Well, folks, Pedro 2.0. It's Gruffalo, the Ruffalo. What if we told you that it's Hollywood that is causing New Yorkers to be unable to lower their thermostats? No, really, we're not making this up. Hang tight. We'll show it to you. From NYC, it says Mayor Mamdani expands emergency heat measures to protect New Yorkers during historic holiday weekend heat wave. What you should know. What this is really about is you're not allowed to turn your air conditioner down, or at least they're telling you not to. And if you're in a government building, get ready to suffer because 78 degrees, that's as low as it's going to go. I dare say, though, I bet that Madison Square Garden with Taylor Swift and the wedding is going to be just fine when it comes to the temperature. The Guardian has this. Folks, take a look at what has caused New York to be where it is, okay? Because I need our non-American, our international viewers to understand, okay? I need the Europeans out there who are like, it's not just us anymore. I need you to understand that the states within the United States, they're kind of like their own countries, and they're run differently, and they have their own cultures and all that sort of thing. And so what's going on in New York is not indicative of what is going on across the U.S. of A. You see, in New York, just a few years ago, according to The Guardian, it says a nuclear plant's closure was hailed as a green win. Then emissions went up. It says shuttering of New York facility raises awkward climate crisis questions as gas, not renewables, fills gap in power generation. This is from March of 2024. Oliver Millman responding to this. And then Adam Rossi is reminding us of why it is the thermostats are stuck at 78 right now. And don't listen to him about this summer heat wave nonsense. Yes, it's hot. It's been way hotter before. This is just summer. Adam Rossi says New York City had a nuclear power plant 36 miles away called Indian Point. It supplied carbon-free, safe power that would mean no one would need to turn up their thermostats, but it was closed in 2021 by the degrowth death cult, Hollywood. Now New York City relies on fossil fuels for 90% of its power, aka not only did they get rid of nuclear power clean, but they also then switched over to fossil fuels, which means they're damaging the earth. And some people might say, oh no, look, there's a screen cap there. We need to see the video. Well, I have it for you. And it's hosted by Mark Ruffalo. Because as I have said, Hollywood is working overtime to damage America. And in this case, New York. Millions and millions and millions of people are currently suffering because of Mark Ruffalo. The Disney star, Pedro 2.0, Mr. Hulk himself. He's in everything. He's in Gatto. He's in Avengers. Mark Ruffalo went over, he doesn't live in New York so far as I'm aware, but he went over to New York 4 or 5 years ago, and he advocated for doing this. Because these people, I'm telling you, they are cultural, they are technological arsonists. They are societal destroyers. He says, this is a big deal. The first of Indian Point's nuclear reactors is shutting down this month, and New York State is moving towards a 100% renewable energy future. Again, 4 or 5 years ago. What really happened? 90% of it had to go to fossil fuels. All right, so here's the video. Here's Mark Ruffalo. Here's what they did that caused their thermostats to have to go up. They can't handle a typical summer.
We're celebrating the long-fought closure of the Indian Point nuclear power plant.
Indian Point, one of New York's largest nuclear power plants, will begin to shut down in 2020.
Indian Point nuclear power plant has been shut down by the activists in this community. When we
Oh, they're so proud. Are you suffering? Are you in New York watching this right now? Do you feel extra steamy? I'm so sorry.
Heard that plant was closing. It was just wonderful. We all celebrated.
And we need you to join us in moving to
climate activist. She's in charge of getting this to be now 90% fossil fuels replacing this.
100% renewable energy. Here are 3 things you need to know. Number 1, Indian Point is very dangerous.
As opposed to summer heat that might be killing Europeans.
You've got to understand how dangerous this thing has become. In 1 year, they had 7 major mishaps. They had pump failures.
What's a mishap? Don't worry, we won't tell you exactly.
They had fires, they had radiation leaks.
My family lives 2 miles from Indian Point, so we are very aware of the dangers of that plant. You always have the chance of a catastrophic accident, and it would be catastrophic.
I hope she doesn't try driving any time soon.
Not just to those of us in 2 miles. We're in the no escape zone. It would be catastrophic to New York City.
Indian Point is...
If we were to be struck by a meteor, folks, we wouldn't survive.
Is less than 40 miles from New York City. You cannot evacuate 19 million people from the 50-mile radius around Indian Point.
In other words, total and complete fear-mongering. And they did this. I'm going to get Mark back in here. They did this, and now there's no energy. That's why they are polluting like crazy with their fossil fuels, and that is why the thermostats are at 78. But again, this is Hollywood. Here's Mark Ruffalo one more time.
Powerful opportunity to get off dangerous nuclear power and fracked gas.
New York can lead the way on 100% clean, safe, renewable energy.
New York State is becoming an example for the country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're an example for the entire country right now. Let's go back again just to really hit this home. Emissions went up, and your thermostat went up, and you're the laughingstock of the country. Wiz, were you aware that Mark Ruffalo, the Gruffalo, Disney's big man, he's responsible for 8 to 15 million people right now suffering, sweating at home, and Mark Ruffalo, I'll guarantee you, is enjoying nice, cool air.
My home has been destroyed. That's every day I see more and more that the city goes to crap because of people like this, but also the corruption at all levels, the government corruption that is very much rampant across the entire state, not just the city. And it's terrifying. I was just there a couple of weeks ago, and it's a disaster. You want to talk about like, oh well, there's the power problems. So if this is the current climate issue, there is ridiculous. In that video you just played, Pro, there's the mention of, oh well, it's dangerous. The power plant is dangerous. The city is already dangerous. You've already got infrastructure problems that have made the city a health hazard. And I'm not talking about just like, trains and automobiles. I'm saying like there's already radiation problems with all of the garbage. You still have leftovers from the Manhattan Project laying around making people sick. So what are we doing? What is this conversation really about? And it has to do with, powers that be making money and having control. That's all it's ever been about. And so now you've got people cooking in their homes in what we're told is the greatest city in the world. I don't know. I don't know if that's the truth anymore. Have you been to Texas? You've been to Florida? They got some good cities in those states. You've been to anywhere else?
My position here is, Wiz, my position is, and by the way, New York is the second biggest media city in the country. So this, there's two sides to this story, not in terms of truth, but two sides in terms of you've got Hollywood coming to destroy New York, and then you've got New York being destroyed as a media center. But Wiz, I think these people are actually anti-human. I'll play Mayor Mamdani talking about the thermostats real quick.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid.
So that's as quiet as it can be, but apologies there, folks. I think this is anti-human, Wiz. I think these people view humans as a virus on the planet. The oceans have not moved. So for those out there who are saying, well, the glaciers are melting and the oceans are rising, listen, I'm not going to debate you on the science of it. I love science. I love collecting data and understanding how nature and physics and everything works. Just here to tell you, the oceans were supposed to be covering up Florida by now. The oceans have not moved a centimeter. They haven't moved, okay? But the thermostats have, Wiz, and I believe that the production of energy correlates very closely to the generation of wealth. So if you're anti-energy, I actually think you're anti-wealth. I think you're anti-human because I want elderly people to be able to sit in air that is conditioned for them for the maximal health benefits. I also recognize that the hotter it is at night, the worse your sleep is, the less productive you are. These people are striking right at the heart of prosperity. And the more we listen to people like Mamdani or Mark Ruffalo, they are destroyers. I mean, they are idiots. They are stupid destroyers of society, and they will just wreck everything. And they don't have any, they don't have any morality about this. They don't have any, there are no second thoughts. They don't suffer the consequences, and they just continue on.
We talk about it often. That there's the culture war at play, talking about, oh man, Superman, what does Superman stand for? Oh, well, what they're changing is, well, they're trying to change your perception with heroes, and they're really attacking that. It is a war for, I think, the soul of humanity is what we're in the middle of here. And it just gets worse. There's no winner. There's no victory. Sometimes there's like little wins here and there, but it is getting worse because they're coming at you from every possible angle you could think of. And I think you're absolutely right that everything going on here, Mamdani, but you know what? Mamdani is a scapegoat for the corruption that's underneath him.
Yeah,
Everybody points, oh, it's him. We got to get rid of him. If we get rid of him, everything will be fixed. No. That's not it at all. And anybody telling you that is lying to you, or they are misinformed. The infrastructure underneath him has put him up. He is a face, but it's like the snake. But unlike this, if you can't cut the head off of a snake here, the rot inside goes into everything. Here's another angle for a different day, I think. Go ahead and take a look into the gambling infrastructure that they've installed into the city. Where does the money go? And it's tethered into education. Oh, so now we can never get rid of it. It's going to be harder for us to regulate or do anything about the gambling epidemic that we've just installed over the last 5 or 6 years. Why? Well, because it's bound into the education system. And so that's what they do. These are it's anti-humanist behavior. It's anti-humanity, and it's all predicated on the idea of getting just a little more control. Sometimes it's inching along, sometimes it's inches, right? Like sometimes it's centimeters, sometimes it's inches. But either way, they are just getting more and more control away from you. You know, I remember years ago when it needed to be, the discussion on, you give up a little bit of your freedoms, you get a little more of this over here. But now it is that was the macro. We are now at the micro level. It is the smallest things. It is now the temperature on your thermostat that they're trying to control. It's crazy.
Nat, I'd like to go to you and ask you about what Wiz is saying. In particular, I wonder, so Disney promotes people like Ruffalo. They know who he is. This is a guy who he is sitting on, his yacht, his helicopter, his private plane, whatever. He's not sitting in 80 degrees, but the assisted living place might be, right? In fact, the thousands of assisted living places might be, the nursing homes in New York. And, well, they've had a go of a day. Nat, are these people intentionally destructive to society, or is it just incompetence? Like, what is this that drives them to stupid, terrible, bad ideas that don't work for them, but they enforce upon others? Why does Disney support this? Why do they put people out there who do this? What is the purpose behind it all?
So I think it goes kind of with what we've been saying for the whole show, in the sense of it's the ego power trip. I think they've even moved away from really caring that much about the money itself, for example, and just it's about the ideological and capture of power and furthering that for themselves and being able to spread out, because they gain capital, like social capital and power capital, by spreading out these terrible ideas. And with Mark Ruffalo, of course, he doesn't have to suffer through it, but that's not what he's looking for. He's looking for that prize that comes from virtue signaling, and it's insane that they're saying that nuclear power is not safe and reliable currently, and that they're trying to still fearmonger with what happened in the 80s and yes, early 2000s. But still, that was a few errors. But because most of the public is not fully informed about it, then they can just say whatever they want.
Jonas, as we look at the incompetence of these people, let's remember that what they are trying to export to the rest of the United States, the glorious, lavishly blessed United States. I mean, we live at the best time in terms of technology and comfort. I mean, it's insane. And, if you don't like it, folks, go visit somewhere else for a little while and come back. Good Lord, you've got it. I know not everybody's in the same position, but you have all of human knowledge sitting in a little square that goes in your pocket. Holy moly. It's amazing. Almost everybody out there in the United States has air conditioning. But Jonas, what Hollywood is trying to export is disaster. I mean, in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, they burned down an area the size of the city of Paris, and not a single government official suffered. Not a single change happened. People who griped about it were silenced. No homes essentially were rebuilt. That's what's being exported. Destructionism, anti-humanism, anti-prosperity. And these people don't stop. What is this about, Jonas? Why is Hollywood determined to destroy the rest of America?
Well, when you lack a moral code, you have to replace it with something else, because everybody's looking for that thing to be judgmental of other people for, right? What if you replace all morality? Well, that creates a void inside of a person, and they have to find a new thing to go after. It was amazing watching Hollywood come up with caring about things suddenly during the Me Too movement.
Can I just pause you for a moment, Jonas? Hang on. I hate to do that. I got to go back. This drives me nuts. Look, folks, in their little video where none of this came true, 90% of the energy that they tried to replace, which they were unsuccessful, is fossil fuels. How much? New York is covered in urban sprawl. It's skyscraper after skyscraper. You went to a field of green grass and trees and chopped it down. Put the frickin' solar plants on the parking garages, on the skyscrapers, over your roads, you buffoons, you morons. Okay, go ahead, Jonas. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. For lack of morality, they try to come up with their own, and so they have to find their feeling of righteousness somewhere, and they get it by making everybody else suffer. There's nothing like somebody walking into the room and saying, "Oh, it's too hot in here. It's too cold." Everyone else saying, "It's fine," and them saying, "No, I'll fix the thermostat for you."
It's worse. It's like your neighbor came to your house and fixed your thermostat and went back to their chilly abode.
Yeah. I seem to remember the one lady in the office that sat next to the air conditioner that always changed it for everyone else. She was a skinny little thing and refused to wear a sweater.
Oh, was that Angela in the office? Is she the one who did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Yeah, it's always Angela.
Do we really think that Mark Ruffalo is sitting at home in a 78-degree thermostat right now? I don't think so. I don't buy it.
He might be on a yacht, chilled in the interior to 68 degrees, Wiz. But I'm sure it's a green. It's a green yacht.
Right.
Yeah, totally green.
Burning imaginary energy.
If he's on someone else's yacht, then it's carbon neutral.
Oh, that's the Greta way, right? How about that, eh?
Right.
Regrettable.
Did you just make a regrettable joke, Jones?
It was regrettable, yes.
Well played.
WJB Daily, member for 8. Disney took on debt during COVID. When is it due? Their debt facilities, they keep renewing them pretty much every year. It's a continuous cycle. So I'd like to see their debt come due and them have to sell off some of the things that they bought. That would be nice. Maybe they'll buy Lionsgate. Who knows?
So way to slip that in. Doesn't that pale, though, in comparison, Jonas, to the debt that they took on to purchase Fox?
So let's see. Half of Fox was cash. No, half of Fox was stock, and then the other part was cash. So maybe they did take on debt in order to do that. But
I think they did.
That's actually the part of the transaction that I haven't really worried as much about, because these Wall Street companies, the finance facilities are not nearly as big of a problem as what they're doing with it and the false promises.
The numbers get fuzzy and funny when it comes to debt.
Right. I'll give you an example. Warner Brothers paid off massive amounts of debt, and it didn't move the stock price a single bit. And when you have a company like Disney that is so driven by the stock price and they ignore all of these other things, it doesn't matter when they pay off their debt. It's more like a government institution than it is an actual company trying to make money. DogePal for 5. In the first 90 years, Walt Disney Animated Services? Studios. That makes perfect sense. I don't know why I missed that. Made 4.
It was either that or sandwiches.
3 Caballeros, Rescuers Down Under, Fantasia 2011, Winnie the Pooh. Took only 8 more to double that. It's a very good point. It depends on how you view those package films in the war era. But yeah, Make Mine Music and Melody Time, those are fun and fancy free. Are those sequels or are those packaged shorts put together as anthology? So they've been willing to cash in a little bit, but yeah. Now that's all they have is old IP that John Lasseter helped them with. Bookstore Thor, member for 16. What fireworks should I get? Be safe, everyone. Illegal ones.
We can't say that on there, Jonas. Jonas was kidding.
Illegal
of
ones. It's a joke.
Ones that are illegal in Britain, but
that's all of them.
Legal in everywhere else.
I always think it's funny that we give kids sparklers, and I had sparklers when I was a kid, and it's a thing. But I mean, we give them something that is hotter than the surface of the sun. Those suckers, I mean, they would melt through you in a millisecond, and we're like, "Here, kid, hold this on a stick."
Yeah.
You ever put a bunch of sparklers together and lit them all at the same time?
Especially when they're made by the lowest bidder over in China and then shipped over in less than ideal circumstances. Who knows? Who knows what's going on in that box?
You could heat a Saskatchewan village with a bundle of sparklers lit together. Here, kid, hold it in your hand.
What do we got here? Jim Butler for $2. Whole Different World.
Whole Different World.
I was going for It's a Different World. which they'll reboot that. They're probably not going to go for the Cosby Show that it spun off of. A turn of praise for 35 South African Rand. Plot leak for Doomsday. Doom opens Pandora's box, releases the woke mind virus, and destroys the multiverse. That obviously happened at the end of Endgame.
All right, so folks, if you don't want to hear what has been leaked, supposedly, it just can't be. It just can't be. But if you don't want to hear it, mute me for 10 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. The leak says that Dr. Doom will kill every single Marvel hero, and he's the last one standing at the end of the movie. Done.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Yay.
The opening is going to turn off audiences.
Yes, without a doubt.
The opening will turn off audiences. They need this movie to be you go see it 2-3 times. I think people are going to be traumatized after one.
So they're going for the Transformers approach.
If the leak is real, Wiz, what I was saying at the beginning of the show is it matches a prior leak that we've seen. But if this is the leak, this is a horrible idea, and it's so horrible that it makes me question whether or not this is just somebody piggybacking extra onto it.
You know,
we have sources that we're friends with that are confirming that they're corroborating the story. So
they should delay the movie rather than put this out.
My lack of anticipation for this movie grows every.
They should. If this is the legit leak. If this is the legit leak,
the Secret Wars leak comes out, because I've heard of it. I can't say what it is, but I know what it is. We'll talk about it off the air, but I know how the next one ends, and it is not good at all.
Wiz, do we have confirmation on the third yet? Can we go ahead and just say that?
I haven't heard any confirmation, though. There's rumors talking, floating around now. The talks are it's Doomsday, Battle World, Secret Wars.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how they get a middle movie in here. I don't think it's going to work.
I think it's on the other side. Packing protons for 5. Hey, Ron, can the courts ban companies from making things cloud-based / live services subscription model only? I want to own what I buy. Nope. I mean,
we can answer that for you. But there's another way around this, guys, and I'm not saying it's a perfect solution, but Culture was talking about this the other night. You know, he is now just getting AI, and AI is capable of this, to literally recreate his favorite apps in his own custom code, and it's his. So he's like remaking Photoshop, and remaking his video editing software with AI in like 1 or 2 prompts, and then he says, "It's mine. You can't take it. It's mine forever." Haha. So there's a potential of proliferation of code to such a degree that you own way more than you've ever owned before. It just won't be, unfortunately, the classic stuff that we love.
Bad News Badger for 20 Danish crowns. If buying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing. It's robbery, actually. It's armed robbery when they do it on the high seas.
Robbery. The other thing too is if we start doing that, where we start making our own stuff, then they'll smash us and be like, well, you're not going to be allowed to have computers that can handle that anymore. We'll take those parts, won't we?
Dojpal for $5. Sorry. Bad News Badger. Buying software gives you a license for use under manufacturer rules. You don't own the rights to code, assets, music, copyright, etc.
So I'm going to make my own code.
Yeah. Play Xenosaga for 2. Woke Demons Wrecked.
You know what? That's not bad. It's going to be a little hard to copyright, trademark, etc. I think, because they're going to say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? But yeah, Woke Demons Rectified.
Yeah,
who knows?
I think that actually sounds like your next game.
See my own code running back there? Well, we're making another game after this. It's happening. And folks have no idea how big we're going. It's going to be so huge.
I don't want you. You've heard my idea.
Yes, Hello Kitty racing in Japan. It's not no.
We don't own the rights to Hello Kitty. It would be.
We're trying.
Goodbye Armadillo. Dojpal for $2. Been that way for 50+ years. I don't know what it means, but
talk about the terms of service on code.
Yeah. Archer Merchant for $2. What if the Backrooms re-release beats Odyssey? That would be amazing. But
Odyssey's in huge trouble. Wiz, you've said that Odyssey is the final big Hollywood, like this is what they think. I think we're going to get a twofer here. I think Odyssey and Avengers is going to be two sides of the same thing. It's going to be the giant artsy fartsy, the everything that we throw at it, and then Avengers is going to be the pop culture everything we threw at it. Both of them have the potential to fail now if the leaks are accurate on Avengers.
Odyssey is the final boss of Hollywood. I mean, it is the ultimate Hollywood. You're taking a story that is ancient human history, you're stuffing it full of Hollywood, like the faces of Hollywood, and then telling people it's the greatest thing that's ever been made. I mean, they're trying to, 10 Commandments this. That's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be classical Hollywood, but just in the modern day. And the problem is people are rejecting it. This movie needs to hit $1 billion. That's what they're expecting it to do. It's got to be $1 billion. And I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion. It's going to break even. It will break even, but I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion. And when it doesn't hit $1 billion, that will be considered a failure, at least internally.
I really, really, really don't think they need to keep doing this. This is the kind of thing that, I see Tom Holland, and I don't actually see a movie star. I don't see a character. I just see Tom Holland. And unfortunately with Tom Holland, I just see some guy that's on Instagram. Like I see a teeny bopper person, not a talent, just a guy who keeps doing the same things over and over again. And that guy probably could stand next to other people who deliver a great performance. But as long as Tom Holland and Elliot Page are in this movie, my suspension of disbelief is unsuspendable.
Well,
wait,
I like Robert Pattinson. I don't mind Tom Holland. I don't mind Matt, but like everybody else, I'm like, oh man, what are we doing here? Who's this for?
I like Tom Holland,
for audiences,
and there are women in my house that would probably murder me if I came out against Tom Holland officially. But I just don't see how this movie is going to do anything close to what they used to do every year in Hollywood in the past. Like Troy, when that movie came out, yeah, sure, it was great, but then we moved on and they did another one like that. This is too big of a deal to be it has to be the most important movie in Hollywood, and that's a problem. Sorry, I'm ranted too long on this super chat.
Well, there's 35 super chats, Jonas. So let's go through the Stormweaver ones.
Stormweaver says, "Good afternoon, Pro Nat, with FW Fake Wizard and Jonas J. Campbell. I hope you and yours are well." It's yeah. I think that that's the end of the Stormweaver.
How much of Stormweaver was that?
Wait. And then for $25, the woke mind virus has poisoned the minds of the people of New York State and California.
And many other places.
And for 10, my country, Canada, is even worse. My dad and his brothers are rolling in their graves.
Oh, Stormweaver, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So,
there's a sadness to this too. When some of these great places, I'm not going to say once great. I think they can be great, but when they're taken over by this ideological capture, man, it's terrible. And all the people who fought for these places and try to make these places great, just so terrible.
Yeah, and for 25 more, hope you all have a wonderful and great 4th of July weekend. Happy 250th birthday.
Stormweaver, that series calls for one heck of a celebration. Wiz will bring you right back. We click the button, Wiz disappears, but don't worry, folks, because he's right there. He was always there all along. That was the secret sauce.
He's never gone.
Stormweaver, let's play the clip, and then we'll celebrate with you.
No, it can't be.
But it is Stormweaver.
Perfect. Love it. All right, let's see here. We're a little out of order, so I'm having to fix a few things. Weird Darkness official for $2. Wit, discourse, and wisecracks.
Not bad. That's not bad, eh?
I like that a lot, actually. That's not weird at all. Or dark. Patrick Ganaway for $5. New York is in this mess due to closing nuclear and coal power, banning drilling for natural gas and high voltage power. I say let them boil.
Except, there's a lot of good. This is like the Sodom and Gomorrah thing. There's a lot of people in New York we love. We don't want them to boil. Then again, if you're uncomfortable, that's maybe that's the impetus that gets people to say, you know what, screw this. I'd like to set my thermostat at whatever I want. What idiot destroyed our power plant?
Let's see here. Oh, were you going to say something there? Nope. Turn of praise for 350 South African Rand. I think that's the most in South African Rand we've ever received. Wishing all my American buds the bestest, blessedest, brightest July 4th weekend. Enjoy the Rockets' red glare. That's what I got to say.
That's right. And we wish the best to all countries and to South Africa as well. Folks, we want abundance and prosperity to ring. We want independence and freedom to ring all across this great, big, beautiful blue place we call Earth.
Yeah, it's a great thing that we have, in fact, in our celebrations, a commemoration of winning a war. Like no one can forget that this country is founded on the fact that we had to fight for this country to exist. So, Rowan of Strata for 5. I guess they haven't heard of companies like Oklo that recycle nuclear fuel, 95% of unused energy content of many reactors.
The modern reactors are so ridiculously safe. Now, Fukushima was based on something that was old and antiquated, and it was built in a place it probably should not have been. Modern nuclear reactors, like what would be built in America, there's a system in place where they get dropped if there's any kind of issue that the whole reactor is dropped through, I believe it's analog means, down a huge tunnel that exists below it, and then that triggers concrete to be poured over the top of it, sealing it. So the idea that we can't do nuclear power is insane. Like, there are so many redundancies now, and we are so moved technologically, and power plants can be built in places where there is, low population numbers and all that sort of thing. This is a solvable problem that we have a bunch of people who actually want regression. They want regression because they believe that through regression, they will achieve the communist socialist takeover, and then they will have the utopia that they think lies on the other side of it. We just got it wrong. 100 million deaths in the last century was not enough. They'll do it right this time, and they'll be the special ones on the other side of their nirvana.
Yeah, with all this nuclear talk, this is quickly becoming a reaction channel. John Maynard for 10. On my LDS mission in Washington and Oregon, I got to know a lot of nuclear engineers and inspectors. By law, the federal government must maintain all of the roads, allowing people to evacuate quickly on the roads. I can understand why that would frighten people in New York then. Very much. Clink Clank, I'm a take for 10. The biggest climate change book I had to deal with in high school even champions nuclear energy as the solution. The modern Greens are just rebranded Reds. Their goal is not a clean future. It is serfdom. It's funny that the Greens and the Reds also seem to be anti-Christmas.
How do we know, by the way, that Clink Clank is right? Because all of those people, once they destroyed the energy production of the nuclear power plant, once 90% of its energy replacement went to fossil fuels, did any of them come out and say, no, this is wrong, we must fix it? Nothing, silence. Because ultimately, what did they really want? They wanted regression. They wanted poverty. They want suffering.
Clank, clank, I'm a take for 5 more. Serfdom gives them the power that is the end goal, and the ultimate power is over the life of the peasants. That's true. The pigs need to eat the apples reluctantly because it provides them more brain power. And that is why I would love to see Mondani's thermostat. Patrick Genoway for 5. Miami Beach is sinking. It's not due to rising seas. Miami Beach is literally built on sand.
So you could find a very few examples of like where a hurricane has come in and it's changed the coastline. But in terms of like the elevation of the sea, which would change depending on the melting of the ice caps, the ocean has not moved a single centimeter. And you can give me reasons for that. We can have a debate about climate, but that prediction didn't come true, and they're still buying all kinds of seaside estates.
Yeah, I noticed nobody's getting rid of their beachfront property. Packing protons for 5. Hollywood is made up of alien lizard people in disguise. No, that's just John Leguizamo. He looks that way when he doesn't have the mustache. Clank, clank, I'm a take for 5. Don't forget when Biden wanted to manage the water in your toilet in New York City, said you could not have gas stoves. They also banned soda, didn't they? They limit the amount of soda you can have.
Yeah,
so,
that was under...
that was So that was like barely that was during the Bloomberg administration, and that was to try to fight childhood obesity, or really just obesity in general. And it was like, yeah, the large sodas, but that's a way bigger conversation, or way different conversation from you can't have gas stoves. It was insane.
Well, yeah, the other, I feel like that one got shot down real quick too.
The soda one?
No, the stove one.
It was. Well, the stove one, they're still fighting to try and make happen.
It was a flash in the pan.
They're yeah, they're not going to give that up.
The soda one is crazy to me because if you shrink the size of the container, people just buy 2 containers.
Well, the other thing I would say is the soda one and the food stamps one are 2 government programs at complete odds with each other. You know, the idea that you ban soda from food stamps. Also, the let's end obesity. These are okay. One line in Tomorrowland was actually one of my favorites. You have dueling problems of obesity and starvation on different sides of the world, right? It's actually a really good point. Now, the solution is obviously not government intervention, but maybe less government on our side funding things that are useless, like soda. Or the fact that the soda companies fought against it being removed from EBT because they knew that they were mostly subsidized by the government itself. Sorry, I know we're not a political channel, but this one on a practical level, on an economic level, you have to stop funding the things. You have gone. There it goes. I thought that Nat had a technical issue for a second.
Rolling blackouts landing on poor Nat and the guy at the moment.
Yep. Bucky Cat for 5, as the Rolling Stones song say, go ahead, bite the big apple, don't mind the maggots.
Ew. Hey, Jonas, we've got a ton of super chats. We hit the goal. We're going to do a special Q&A at the end of the show today. But if you would grab the largers and the gifted memberships real quick, we've got to hit this next story with Wiz as fast as we can.
Yep. Sorry about that. I got a little excited when I hate communism, which is all the time. Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle gifted 10 WDW Pro memberships and says, happy 4th all. We're waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp. And I believe it's just been demonstrated that small modular reactors can be literally delivered by plane now.
That would not be shocking whatsoever. I am aware of some folks out there who have worked on those sorts of things, and the technology is amazing.
Yep. And also says 24 months, groovy.
Wait a minute. It's not just that you're doing such kind things, but you're doing it on your membership birthday?
Make a wish. Blow out your candles.
Alrighty. And then Joppy says, for 100 Swedish crowns, I just jumped into the stream, but if you want to talk about SKG, that it's not lost in the EU, it has a lot more support to be added in the Digital Safety Act.
Well, this might be one of those examples where the EU could take a lead, and so that would be very good indeed. Let's get rights for consumers so that if you buy a product, it can't be stolen away from you later on by the company. Yep. Sound good, eh?
Sounds good.
All right, folks, let's talk about something that's been taken away from the consumer, and that is a franchise whose values and original creativity and everything about it has been stripped away by Netflix. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about Avatar, not the James Cameron Avatar, The Last Airbender. Avatar, The Last Airbender is no longer a cartoon, and yet somehow it's less mature in its real-life action form. We've got this out of Variety. Avatar, The Last Airbender Season 2 debuts with 8.7 million views in 4 days. That's basically down 60% from Season 1, and there's no doubt why that is. This thing is terrible. Not only is it poorly cast, not only is it poorly acted, not only have they injected woke into it, but also it's just awful in terms of the delivery of every single episode. This is going nowhere. And I'm saying now, I think they need to put it out of its misery. I think they should cancel season 3. The article says season 2 of Netflix's live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender debuted with 8.7 million views in 4 days. That total took it to the number 2 position in the streamer's weekly English-language TV rankings, but represents a huge drop-off from season 1. In 2024, the series debuted with 21.2 million views. By the way, if they have this kind of drop-off between season 2 and season 3, then they would be down around 3 million and change the next time, and that's just not sustainable. Wiz, I want to go to you about this one first. This show is awful. It's terribly casted. I can't find anything to like about it. Can you? I mean, you've suffered through some of this, right? Did you see the whole thing?
We watched the whole thing, and it's miserable.
Wiz, I'm so...
Yeah, it's 7 hours I'll never get back. When we watched the whole thing just so we could do a proper review on it, and we ended up taking notes the whole show of all of the things that they changed, just on the notes. It's about 4.5 pages of things, because the animated show is fantastic. It's a wonderful story with great characters. It's good for kids. It's all good for adults. The music is great. Everything about the original Avatar: The Last Airbender, those first 3 seasons and nothing else, is lightning in a bottle. It is creative genius. This show is attempting to replicate perfection, and you're going to fail. But on top of that, they take creative liberties on things that they should not be touching. They change things around. They change characters around. There is nothing redeemable about the last Avatar, the last Airbender on Netflix. And I'll take it one step further. It's worse than The Acolyte. This is worse than The Acolyte. I don't understand how every month somehow we are getting things that are like, oh my gosh, it's worse than the last thing. That was the worst thing I thought we could ever get. And yeah, this is truly one of the worst pieces of media. I won't even call it television. It is one of the worst pieces of media ever created. This is god awful. And there's people there. There's still, there's a handful, a very small handful of people that are like, well, I watched it and I enjoyed it. It's not great, but it's something. That's the problem. That's the problem. You're
I don't know if you've
with mediocrity.
I don't know if you've seen this, Wiz, but there is a massive effort underway currently to convince people that the casting here was not terrible, that it's not awful, that these actresses look. I mean, this is so embarrassing even to them. I would think that they don't look like they do in the show. So I don't know if they're trying to blame the costuming and the makeup, but there's this effort underway to show them in real life and be like, see, she's not really portly. It's like, are we seriously doing that as the defense here? I mean,
well, it's worse than that, bro. It's like, because season 1, they were cast as kids. So they looked like kids because they're supposed to be young kids. But now, because they let so much time go by before Netflix renewed the second season, they come back for season 2. Now these kids look like young adults. They look like they're like kind of finishing up high school. Whether they are or not is irrelevant, but they have physically changed a lot. So now you've got issues where it's like, hey, firstly, they don't look like the characters they're supposed to be playing. But now I can't take the story as seriously because a lot of the situations in play here is supposed to be children coming to terms with what's going on and how they're dealing with their emotions through the lens of being children. These are whiny teenagers now in this show. It's terrible.
Is this worse than the final season of Stranger Things, you think?
I think this is worse than the final season. Stranger Things had this thing of building upon, like you're building up to a finale, right? There's something to look forward to. This particular season, this is the middle. This is the act 2 of this 3-act story, and there's incredible moments, right? That you're wanting to catch these moments made into live action. But no, they destroy every single moment. So it's just a slog the whole time with nothing to look forward to other than more of slog.
Is this a result of trying to wokeify it to make changes because they're smarter and better than the original show?
Well, I would take it to an even worse level because what they do and how they do it. And we talked about this with Supergirl. We've talked about it with Toy Story 5. I mean, It's covert. It's done subliminally. It's done in the small things. It's done in the small conversations. And it's through the dialogue now. So instead of having, Avengers A-Force and all the women get it done, stand together in Endgame where it was like total cringe, they know they can't do that anymore. And what they do to legacy characters that mean so much and with moments that really carry the original show, they hijack that and they change it. I mean, Uncle Iroh, people are, Uncle Iroh who's one of the most important characters in all of season 2 in the animation. They got him right. It's like, no, it's not even close.
Right, and they handed a bunch of the lines to a different character. Is it Kyoshi that gets a lot of the lines in season 2 versus some of the other characters? It's always a female explaining what's really going on as opposed to yeah. Nat, the cost.
Go ahead.
Nat, the cost on this is intense. At the low end, it's estimated to be $120 million for season 2 alone. These companies continue to do this, and I don't understand why they can't just respect the source material, and if it's not going to be authentic, then don't go for it. Don't do it. And yet they keep doing this over and over again. You would think a company like Netflix would say, hey, we're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to protect the this IP. And instead, this just is on loop. I'm shocked. It's like 4 years past where I thought they would have learned by now.
Well, I don't think they'll ever learn until they fully clean house, honestly. But also, I don't know if it's a popular or unpopular opinion, but I don't understand. Like, the whole point of Avatar, in my opinion, was that it was animated and that things could happen that couldn't happen anywhere else. And even if you try to make it seem live, that suspension of disbelief at some point does get broken, and especially if you're doing it poorly. And I think a lot of these remakes and just cash grabs, in my opinion, are just for that, or just to try to revive the spirit, but by doing it poorly, so you can't revive the spirit.
But they're never satisfied with the spirit. They never sit down and say, okay, there's a magic to this. There's a reason that this was esteemed, why it took off. They're always smarter and better, Nat. They're always betterer. And they always know where to make the changes and how to fix it. And it turns out that's, when you're dealing with something that's beloved at this level, whether it's a Star Wars or an Avatar The Last Airbender, a lot of people consider this to be the greatest serious cartoon series ever made. And these people always think they know the best. And it's never that way. It's never, ever that way. And they don't learn. It's amazing.
If I may, there's one specific. I'm sorry, I'm cutting in and out. There's one specific moment, real quick, and then Nat, I'll throw it back to you. There's a moment in the animation where Iroh is acting as a father scolding a kid who's done something terrible. They changed it in the live action to be where instead of being a father scolding a son, it is the father saying, "You were right to do that. You're okay. Everything is going to be fine. You didn't make any mistakes." It is as if the writers are trying to write out parents being allowed to be parents. Sorry, go.
Go ahead, Nat.
Oh, me. Sorry, I thought it cut out. And then I cut out. But I was going to say, ideologically, they think that their version of what should be done is what is right. And there is no discussing that. So for them, it will always be, yes, our version is the best one. And it's the one that has to be at the forefront because we're bettering everything. We're making Snow White better because we're inserting and we're changing, shifting the ways that it was to, I don't know if they honestly believe it at this point, but they think that they're making, by virtue signaling, they think that they're making it better for everybody else, but they're not. They're just ruining it, but they can't see it because they can't see the failures of their own ways.
Jonas, by any chance, are you an Avatar Last Airbender fan?
Oddly enough, I was one of the times that I went to a pro retreat. I had to do some editing work, and I put on Avatar: The Last Airbender in the background while I worked. So I got kind of partway through season 1, and its quality. I've seen season 1 of the live action, and I liked the first season of the live action, despite apparently missing some of the changes that they made. I like the show. I hate that eventually it did go woke. They added in They added in things that were inappropriate for a children's show in the second series, Legend of Korra. So it just kind of made it into this thing that I don't want to advertise it to my kids and try to get them interested in it, which is the way all of this stuff eventually fails, is they forget that you actually need to cultivate a young audience and not try to go for the cross-generational, because the cross-generational will happen on its own. So I like the show. I think it's probably of quality. I don't like that a live action remake of anything means buckle up. It's going to be awful.
But we're there. We're pretty much there.
Yeah.
And Wiz, this has cemented it, I think. Your call on what I've said, I think they should can an effort on season 3. I think this is enough.
I don't want to see a season 3.
Yeah, because you'll have to watch it.
They filmed. Yeah, because they'll have to watch it. There's nowhere else to go but down. Like season 3 is so important, and they're not going to land on anything. But they've already shot it, so I know that it's already. They shot 2 and 3 together. That was part of like the contracting that they had issues with getting season 2. Look, it's really bad. But to Jonas's point, the first 3 seasons are great. They're excellent in isolation, but they also have a definitive ending. You don't need to watch anything. I haven't. Personally, I refuse to. I'm done. You know, the only reason we watched this live action series was so that we could properly review it. But otherwise, I haven't watched Korra. I'm not interested in the spin-off movie, or I'm not interested in anything other than those first 3 seasons. Avatar ended in 2008, and leave it that way. It's great. Nope.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. We lost a Wiz and we got zoomed in. Whoops, a daisy. All right, Jonas, let's get some more super chats, and then we're going to hit 2 lightning stories as fast as we can, because we are a little bit over today. But we'll hit them and we'll win them for you, folks, and then Q&A on the way.
All right, Patrick Genoway for $5 American. Hollywood is they live in real life. Yeah, that was kind of the point of they live, wasn't it? I mean, you're right on the money.
I at any moment, I feel like Mamdani's going to pull Marie Antoinette and say, let them have frigid air.
Vacuum Protons for $5. AOC and Zorik Mamdummy had a meeting about a president race, apparently. Well, J.D. Vance will be happy.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be political, but AOC, you know, she's part of this neo-Marxist crap where they actually fight against the truth objectively. I can't stand when they come out and they slam America, and they talk about how the current generation has been given a situation that they, they don't like. And it's like, it's never been better to be human, right. In terms of technology, in terms of comfort. I'm not saying everything's perfect, but come on, people, come on, have some perspective.
Right. Barry the Music Man for $2. Hooty hoo, you white gummy whiners. Happy 4th.
WDW stands for hooty hoo. Oh, maybe.
Yep. First Dragon Queen for $5. Side note, officially reached 2 minutes. I'm running him through a video editor. Her first Evil Sesame Seed Man will be posted soon. Sounds like
Evil Sesame Seed Man rises.
That's pretty good. All right, what else we got here? We got Joppy, member for 17 months. What's funny is that solar panels aren't as friendly as advertised. The manufacturing is handled in China because too harmful, called climate export. Also, when is next member something? P.S. Venezuelan oil won't be enough to cover deficit. It never is. Thomas Sowell has a great quote. He says, the government could be put in charge of the Sahara Desert, and in 5 years, you'd have a shortage of sand.
If we're going to do solar, put it in the desert, put it over parking lots, put it on cities, and that's fine by me. If you want to do nuclear is safe at this point. These people don't want to do any of that, and that means that their actual agenda is different than what they say. So duplicitous, I believe they are. Joppy, next member thing is probably in about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
You're going to do it during the Southeast Game Exchange or before?
Just before.
Yep. Let's see here. Bad News Badger for 50 Danish crowns. Renewable energy isn't a bad thing as a baseline, but for heaven's sake, don't remove your current production before you can replace it.
That's right.
Yep. Renewable energy is good. There's no reason to turn down a resource just because it's politically charged. It needs to be economically viable. End of sentence.
It's not lost on me that our German friends got rid of a lot of their energy production because they wanted to be clean. Turns out they could not heat their homes, so now they import firewood and burn it in chimneys, and that is one of the dirtiest ways to produce energy, not only because of burning the wood in the chimney, but also because you have to harvest the lumber from other places in Europe. Yay!
That's always the funny thing to me when people are like, they're going to say, save a tree, save paper. I'm like, you do realize that Georgia Pacific literally plants trees to farm them for this. It is a farmed resource. It is cultivated as a resource in order for you to make paper. They're not going into somebody's backyard and pulling down the great maple tree that they buried grandma under. It is a farmed resource.
My position is you're serious about climate when you have forests and national parks and all that sort of thing. And I look at Europe. I've been all over Europe. Not a lot of trees in most of the places. Mm-hmm. Replant your trees. They've been gone for 2,000 years. Fix it.
Yep. Bad News Badger for 50 Danish crowns. Even Denmark did a gradual replacement, and still we kept some of the old coal plants as backup in case of a slow day in renewables. I don't know who shot first, but I know who clouded the skies. It was the humans.
My understanding is Denmark did a pretty darn good job on theirs.
Yep. Bob Blah Blah for $5. Is Pro finally saying learn to code? Lol.
I'm saying we're about to be in a tsunami of code. I'm saying that the people who told others to learn to code, boy, that turned out poorly, because it turns out coding may not be worth much very shortly. It may become a very cheap commodity.
He's like Johnny Mnemonic over here. Packing protons for $2. Supposedly, a Lupita clip has leaked on X. Odyssey.
I don't know if you ought to see that, though.
Let's see. Wolfle McGruffle for 2. WDW equals World Wide Web.
World Wide Web. Okay.
That's clever. I like that. Packing protons for 5. Seen on X. Mamdani to deliver America's 250th speech hours ahead of Trump. I'll believe it when I see it.
Everybody can say "Go America" on July 4th. That's fine by me.
I love it when Protons is like he breaks like real news and also breaks completely fake news to try to throw us off. So I don't know which of those two that is. Pixel goes for $2. Wonderful Dizzard of Woz.
Makes sense. Wonderful Dizzard of Woz.
I know some people who met Woz, and they say he's a great guy.
A wonderful Dizzard of Woz.
Michael Cooley, member for 5 months. I wouldn't Mondani anywhere near my goat herd.
Keep the goats away.
Yep. Lucis Natare Trista, member for 14. How does Mondani enforce the 78-degree rule?
Through government buildings. I think right now the private citizens can ignore him if they want, but they could, I suppose, put penalties on people. I don't want them to do that, but maybe, could be.
Yeah, I generally don't like the guy very much.
Yeah.
Joppy for 100 Swedish crowns. If you want to get rid of morbid obesity, which is uniquely obscene in the U.S., then just follow the EU food and drink regulations. It's unmatched globally, and obesity levels and severity speaks for itself. I'll do you one more. Follow the Japanese rules on everything.
So
there you get a bunch of 110-year-olds over there.
My understanding is that Australia is now the most obese country on the planet. We love our Aussies. Australia's a beautiful place, but I think it's now the most obese country. And in terms of the U.S., Joppy is right about the food issue. This needs to be resolved. I know RFK has been working on that. Glyphosate is probably a huge part of this. The issue with our starches, grains, wheats is a big deal, and that needs to be fixed. But also, folks, you have to remember, too, what would cause mass obesity beyond issues with the food supply? Abundance. So at the same time that this is a serious issue, you also have to say to yourself, wait a minute, this is the opposite problem of starvation, which has been the issue for all of human history. So now we're having to engage in the willpower to not eat versus millennia of humans always being desperate to get the next meal so that they don't expire. So it also is a statement about the wealth and prosperity. And yes, I agree 100% that obesity is a problem, but it's a problem born out of having excess.
Yep. First Dragon Queen for $2. I too have suffered through Avatar live action. I'm so sorry, First Dragon Queen.
I recommend stopping it.
Yep. Joppy for 500 Swedish crowns. If people want an example of how game publishers will adjust to regulations instead of boycotting it, just look at the Netherlands. They got its Steam market isolated because of its unique gacha regulation, yet the publishers still changed it to fit. Yeah, I do believe that the changes that they had to do, is this the one where there was a change in one region and they just pushed it everywhere?
Maybe. I know there was a loot box issue in Europe, and most companies just completely dropped the loot box, which was wise because I think the US was about to follow suit on that too, because it was basically kiddie gambling. Yeah, listen, we got to get this thing fixed when it comes to who owns what, and stop these companies from basically making you digital serfs. That's not going to be okay as the world becomes more and more digital.
That's right. A turn of praise for 35 South African Rand. Avatar: The Last Script Bender, proudly brought to you by The Fifth Element, Steel. There's an ongoing joke in my house about the Fart Knocker tribe, and that's what I would describe those people as. Douglas Nutt for $2. Would this version of the character be called Oong?
I name him Oof instead of Ang.
Izzo's Place member for 13. Wilton deserves wings. I think that would go against FTA regulations.
What are you doing to us here?
He's in Canada.
As long as he goes to the sun, I'm good with it.
Yeah. DL Racer for $10. How stupid do you have to be to approve a doubling down of failed political fanaticism? Executives on LinkedIn are still applauding these efforts before they fail. Discriminatory tribalism. It's because it's a religion.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. DL Racer, the last topic we have today is going to speak exactly to this, and it's such a beautiful and poignant way for us to end just before the July 4th celebration. So don't go anywhere. I think you're really going to like, based on this super chat, where we're going very soon.
Alrighty. Archer Merchant for $5. What if we are also seeing Nolan and these shows as first victims of Hollywood's quota casting to qualify for awards, and how poorly thought out it was? I saw an interesting case that a lot of the previous award winners already would have qualified. Like most of them already would have qualified because it's behind the camera as well. So I'd like to know what the actual impact of the diversity thing is, or whether or not it's just some lip service they're trying to, say with the Oscars so white thing.
So I think they're trying to qualify, but then I also think that the diversity, it's baked in that if you don't have it, then you might qualify, but you're not going to win. So to be in the running to actually win, you have to have, you have to go above and beyond what even the quotas are.
Longrua for 50,000 didgeridoos. What are these? I forget. Nintendo conquered the gaming scene in Japan because they still support physical. Soon, parent in America will call every console a Nintendo again. Man, that'd be great.
Gonna have to drop that that download and what is it? What is it? The authorization thing they're doing, Jonas. What is that?
Oh, the virtual game cards thing.
No, it's when you put in your cartridge and it downloads the little thing online to prove that you own the
game key cards. I hate those.
That's got that. They're going to have to resolve that. If they resolve that, if they figure out a way around that, they will, I think, be on the right side of dominating PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I bought my first game key card the other day, and it was because it was a game that I would have bought on digital for $20, and that is the only reason that I bought a game key card, because, well, I might as well have the game key card. Michael Cooley for $5. Everyone should read Michael Crichton's State of Fear if it might free your head from climate hysteria.
We're all living in an episode of South Park. The town is always going crazy about something that we all laugh at, and then it turns out, nope, that's reality.
Yep. Packing Protons for $5. We need a wellness check on D-Day Cobra. He hasn't grifted in 4 days. Tad unusual. He's a busy fella.
Hey, wait a minute. He's been online, though, right?
I don't know. Bagging Protons for $5. Wokie's job is to destroy. They don't care to learn. Their job is to insert message regardless of the consequences.
That's right. They have a purpose in life, and it's not the purpose that you have, which is to make things better. Not their job at all.
And our last super chat for now, at least. Packing Protons for $2. WDW equals woke destroying wonder, pro.
I think we can workshop that a little bit and get somewhere. Yeah. All right, lightning round. We're going to hit these next two stories quickly, folks, because we are over the time, but we intend to get these things in for you so that you know tomorrow's headlines. Let's dive in. First story up of the two, CNN. Ratings disaster. And what if we told you that it's not going to go well for those who are trying to stop Barry Weiss and CBS with the takeover. Not going to go well at all. And ladies and gentlemen, would you look at that? Paramount is now denying. They're now saying, no, we made no promises to the president, to Donald Trump, to the Orange Man in regards to CNN. What's this about? Well, we'll explain. Hang tight. Paramount Skydance has formally denied reports that the company executives promised President Donald Trump they would overhaul CNN in exchange for government approval of the company's acquisition of Warner Brothers, which, despite Europe's best attempts, we believe will go through. The denial comes after a June 22nd report published by the Wall Street Journal. According to its sources, Larry Ellison told Trump that if Paramount landed the Warner deal, it could overhaul CNN. Now, let me read this again to you because I want you to notice there's no promise that was stated in the Wall Street Journal. So the denial is denying something that was never alleged, at least not from WSJ. And then that means what is offered in the Wall Street Journal probably is true. Quote again, Larry Ellison told Trump that if Paramount landed the Warner deal, it could overhaul CNN. But no promise was made and no fixes in, but an overhaul, well, probably now coming. The report added that both Trump and Ellison have long viewed CNN as politically biased against conservatives and the Trump administration. Well, that's no surprise. And guess what? Barry Weiss coming in to fix this thing, CBS coming in to fix this thing, it needs it. I want to show you the low ratings for CNN. It says CNN averaged 590,000 total primetime viewers, but only 108,000 demo viewers. Now, that's way better than MS Now, but still, as we've pointed out over and over and over again, 108,000 viewers on average in the demo puts it at half, likely half the demo viewers of a typical Friday Night Tights stream on Nerdrotic. We're not forgetting about this, folks. And they're freaking out. Get out of here. Stephen Colbert, you're not going to get us with a copyright ding. But this is coming to us from independent.co. Top CNN star to leave network ahead of Paramount takeover and possible Barry Weiss leadership. It says the merger would put both CBS and CNN under the same ownership, causing worries for CNN staff. So who's out? CNN's chief legal affairs correspondent, Paula Reed, is poised to leave the network ahead of Paramount's takeover. Her exit comes as Paramount, which owns CBS, is set to acquire CNN's parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, in a massive $111 billion deal that has left some CNN staff reportedly feeling uncertain about the network's future. And again, you'll notice they're not thinking California is going to come in to save them. They don't think Europe's going to stop this. No, they know what's happening, and that's why the partisans are jumping ship. And ship jumping they are. What is the thing that's saving CNN, by the way, and giving it ratings slightly higher than MS Now, although still washed out by Fox News? It's this kind of stuff, folks. Take a look at this. Scott Jennings, and you're going to get more of this, I believe. It's going to be Scott to the rescue as CBS and Barry Weiss come rolling in and say, hey, we'd like to compete with Fox News again instead of being down here in the cable doldrums of MS Now land.
Racial redistricting. On the campaign, you literally are taking Memphis, which is a city that with black voters, and you split it in three, stretching 3,000 miles.
Who's the current Democrat congressman there? What is it, a black congressman?
Just because black people are allowed to like people that don't look like them?
Exactly. And that is the point I wanted you to make, because just because you're not going to have a black congressman, why is it that a Republican can't do just as well representing black voters as a Democrat?
Because
why
they
does
aren't
your race,
electing.
Why does
Because
your race
just because
determine your politics?
It doesn't. No. You're making my point, actually. The assumption is black people. No. The assumption is black people will only elect black people. No, black people are smart enough to elect.
The assumption is
let me finish. Black people will elect people who will actually represent them, who have their best interests in heart. And what Republicans have done in Tennessee is dismantle the power for black people to have their voice. They did the same thing in Texas because they said they thought.
Now, we'll hold there. The bottom line is you've got a conversation happening here that, frankly, I think, this is fine for it to be heard. This is pretty good. You've got two sides tackling the same thing. And this is what I believe is on the way for CNN. It will lift the ratings up. CNN has not succeeded If we look at those ratings again, it's just absolutely terrible. I mean, half the demo viewers, the people who buy the stuff from the ads, half of the Nerdrotic channel when it runs Friday Night Tights. So the idea that CNN is, well, it's not true. 60 Minutes ratings have gone up under Barry Weiss, and now it looks like it's going to be a very nice time at CNN, and the partisans are jumping ship. What say you, Nat? Is this the beginning of the end for partisan cable news networks? Will this even force MS Now, perhaps, towards the center?
Well, I'd say if they can fully clean house, then yes, but I don't know how confident I am after seeing how many things seem to be trending in the right direction and then kind of come back to, because they still have some people that at least have some influence to keep pulling it back towards the insane side. But I mean, CNN should be clapping right now and be jumping up and down by the prospect of maybe one day doing better again. But I don't know.
And Jonas, if we look, you can see that in that independent article, it says California, New York, and several other states are preparing a lawsuit to block the Paramount deal. Sources told Reuters. We've heard the same thing about the EU, but it doesn't matter because we can see the executives who know this is going to ruin them. They're leaping out. And when we say ruin them, what we mean is the company's going to do well, but their partisan and political ambitions will not. They're jumping ship, Jonas. So that indicates to me they know nothing is going to stop this from happening. CNN is going to be controlled by CBS. It's going to be controlled by Barry Weiss. Jonas, you're mutified.
Sorry. I think I saw that the objections that the EU had were around a joint venture between Universal and Warner Brothers, that if that was controlled by Paramount, that would just be too much power at one company. So I think that is not as big of a deal. It's the only way it could be less of a big deal would be if California was saying no, which will not matter at all politically, honestly. So I think this is something where the importance of controlling the narrative is bigger to them than the ratings, and so they're willing to cut off their nose to spite their face on this stuff. They would rather have their worldview held up, and that be the only avenue that you can go. They want anyone who disagrees with them, anyone right of Stalin, to be considered a conspiracy theorist. So more power to them if they think that CNN having actual debates online on TV is a bad thing. I think that Scott Jennings has done something well for CNN in that
ratings are up. Yeah. Ratings are up with Scott Jennings actually, just having discourse, like not being spoon-fed the same propaganda. Just Scott Jennings increased the ratings, Jonas.
Right, and I have yet to see Scott Jennings go, oops, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I haven't seen one of those where everyone shows Scott Jennings owned, and then when I watch the clip, if such a thing was there, I have a feeling it wouldn't really be him getting owned. So,
which is to say, by the way, can you imagine it if Disney would actually allow a real, robust conservative, somebody who could handle their own, somebody who actually believed what the population believes, to go on The View? They might double their viewership. They don't want to, Jonas. This is breaking through everything they've attempted to build, which was a one system, monopolistic news coverage on various stations owned by different companies, but all with the same sort of ideals. And that is being cratered, crushed, scattered, scrambled, and they're scrambling to figure out what to do at CNN, even though the company that's going to own them is going to win. Fair to say?
Absolutely. There's nothing like controlling the entire narrative. We see it in everything that they do from start to finish. They want the reason for Supergirl's failure to be crystal clear in the eyes of those who are not paying attention. Oh, it's all the people that you don't watch. There's some crowd of people that you don't watch on YouTube that they're the problem. But if anybody actually watches those people, they say that maybe those people actually have a point.
Absolutely. Well, folks, you heard it here. The CBS takeover of CNN is on the way. And despite all of these legal hurdles that are supposed to be stopping it, no. The partisans are already jumping ship. They're claiming it's because they don't want to be controlled by Barry Weiss. And they don't want to tell you either that under her, 60 Minutes ratings have gone up. CBS News is on the move upwards. No. They don't want you to be disabused of the thought that all of this is going to crater news and its accuracy, but I, folks, would rather tell you the truth. This is going to move CNN into becoming perhaps a centrist news network. The biggest threat here is to Fox, which might lose a little market share to CNN when this happens, and MS Now just might drop even more as well. We'll cover it, folks, but that's what's happening at CNN. Folks, we've got a huge story here. Josh Dawes, who we've had on the channel before, ex-Disney employee, and a guy who was in a great position over there helping out with tech. Josh was exited from the company, and he has been on a tearing into animation and Disney, and this latest one is a great one. He says, this is what it felt like finding another conservative at Disney, which we didn't even know was possible to find one. But he says, furthermore, sometimes the thing you're most afraid to say out loud is the very thing someone else has been waiting to hear. He says, I made a little paper cut animated short about loneliness, honesty, and the birth of friendship. Folks, when you view this from Josh Dawes, a conservative who was working at Disney, was fired, I'll play it for you, but this is how he says it feels for a conservative, maybe even a centrist, to work at the Walt Disney Company these days. This is his animated short touching on just that.
Friendship is born at the moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one."
Jonas, I'll let it just sit here and play, hopefully on loop, but this is beautiful. It's poignant. And I got to say, if people like Josh Dawes get out there and continue to make this, they should have their own streaming platforms. This is Bluey level good. And the fact that it's being spoken against power, Disney being the power. I mean, I think this is brilliant to have the little blue thought bubbles, the blue speech patterns. And then you've got a few people, supposedly these are, representing Disney, a couple of people who have a different thought. In this case, it's conservative, all right? It's centrist, as opposed to the orthodoxy that's allowed. Jonas, your thoughts on this amazing new short that Josh Dawes, ex-Disney employee, has released?
It's a fascinating thing. I was actually in an environment yesterday. I used to work in the corporate world and 2 different Fortune 500 companies, and you had to be very careful where you brought up any conservative idea. There was an email that went out when ever a policy that was unpopular from a liberal standpoint, there would be an email from the CEO comforting the employees, making sure that everybody knew that they took a stand, or if somebody that was conservative got into office. So yesterday I'm working in an environment where someone is recording, and I made some crack about Gavin Newsom. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go political." And the person quietly said, "It's okay, you're in good company." And that person wasn't even necessarily a conservative. I don't know where they are politically, but the fact that they didn't mind a political jab in the other direction, and I see no reprisals from it. If I was in the Fortune 500 realm and did something like that, I would be called into the HR office for creating an unsafe environment. And what do they mean by unsafe? Is challenging anyone's ideas. Wouldn't necessarily even be about lack of focus at work. So whenever conservative conversations happen at companies like that, it's usually once the door is closed and somebody lets something slip, and then the mask is off. That's why nobody goes around to comic book conventions wondering, hey, is this guy secretly woke? No, they want to know if they're based, because this is the kind of thought that is not allowed. It's the whole thing that we talked about when we talk about CNN. CNN wants to control the narrative. They don't want to say, here's the viewpoint. They want to say, here is the only acceptable viewpoint that you can have, and everything else is fringe. So I totally get where Josh is coming from. I'm glad, by the way, that I think he has a job at The Blaze, which, I imagine you could be a liberal and work at The Blaze. You might have a hard time doing that, but you could at least be open with your beliefs, and you couldn't directly be fired for having those beliefs.
Nat, this seems to me to be one of the most powerful tools now in terms of these new animations Josh Dawes is putting out. This is so powerful versus Hollywood and versus what's been taught. They have gatekept, I believe, the ability, the technology, everything, where these kinds of messages can't get out. But this is so beautiful. And I wonder how much of a threat this is to them, because it is just entirely truthful. And I want to say, too, we've advocated here in the past, I talk about the mainstream middle, the sensible center, and I continue to do so here on this channel. You need liberals and conservatives in society. Okay, I'll go on a little tangent for just a second, then I'll hand it to you, Nat. You need liberals and conservatives in society. You don't, by the way, need woke people, because what woke is anti-truth. And so that's just a whole different thing. You don't want that, trust me. You wouldn't want your plumber to be anti-truth, right? You don't want your plumber to show up and say, well, it's my truth how the pipes work. No, it's not. Does the water come through or not? But when it comes to classical liberals and classical conservatives, these are actually oftentimes associated with your psychology and with your psychological makeup. So you need people who are on various sides of the spectrum, because you need liberals to find problems in society and push forth to make change. And then you need conservatives in society to hold on to the traditions that work and to push back against change that's unnecessary. And when you have both of those sides going at each other, then what happens is you'll make the changes that are deemed necessary, and you'll hold on to the things that really, really work, so that you don't go too far in either direction. If you're too liberal, then what happens is you tear down all kinds of things that actually functioned and made things be appropriate and worthwhile. And then if you're too conservative, you actually you kind of lock yourself right into a position where you can't change and you can't adjust and you can't evolve, and then that's a problem. And this is true in companies. And so what this animated thing is doing is it's saying, hey, inside the Walt Disney Company, there was only one side. There was one orthodoxy, only one thing allowed. And this is how it felt to me, to be the kind of person saying, hey, there are important traditions here to hold on to. There are important things to care for. Everybody only thought in one way. Nat, I think this is a huge danger for the gatekeeping system at the studios. If these kinds of pieces of art come through, look out. This is highly effective in changing hearts and minds.
And I think it would also be great to start and continue to demystify the fact that a lot of people think that conservatives or the right cannot create art, because they can. They've just been silenced by, as you mentioned, the gatekeepers on the other side that have taken over a lot of these institutions that do produce or have historically produced the work and weren't always as left-leaning, let's just call it, as they are now. And it's funny because as an extrapolation with of the short, that was basically what it was like living in Canada, and being able to leave was great. And seeing how discourse, for example, here in Mexico still exists and it's still possible. And even if people don't agree with you, they'll at least listen to you. They don't shut you down. And I think we have this history here in Mexico, for example, where we distrust the government. So we always have valued being able to discuss and debate things. And I don't see the same thing happening still in many sectors in the US and in Canada, of course, not at all. But here in our regular news channels, people still have differing ideas and debate them. And that is basically what it's about. They take a news story, and very similar to what we're doing here, give their opinions about it. And nobody is not or disallowed from saying anything, as much as even our own government wants to do that. So I do see a value in continuing to push the notion that the debate, the discussion, and the different perspectives are valuable and are what essentially builds out an actually rich conversation, culture, debate, discussion, and not to forget that, yes, conservatives can also create art.
And speaking of that, Jonas, it's amazing to see the two pieces come together that's going to make this possible. Technology is reaching the point now where creatives from the central and conservative side, Jonas, we get a lot of fan noise out of you.
Sorry.
But we're at the point now where the tools are making it possible to create this stuff. But then also X came along and made it possible for the delivery system to exist, right? So before they could have blocked this. Even if you had the tools to make it, they could have blocked it. X makes it possible to get that out there, and then that's not going to go away for all the faults and failures of X. It's been a huge tool for making this possible, forces the hand of YouTube and others. And so here we are, Jonas. I think it's a paradigm shift.
I think so too. It'll be interesting to see over the next few years as, there are some people who say, well, it's conservative, therefore we should support it. And then there are some people who actually are legitimate creatives that we need to be paying attention to what they're doing. If we can take away this excuse of the means of the production of all of these wonderful pieces of media that could come down, I think that there's a path forward here, because as a parent, when I think about allowing my children to be around creative people, there's a risk there of handing your children over to people that you don't necessarily know what kind of person they are ideologically. And again, that idea that your viewpoint is unacceptable, and sending your child into an environment where you're going to allow them to be influenced by someone else and not know if that's a free marketplace of ideas or if it's an indoctrination tool to say, actually, the people that you live with are evil. That's the nugget there. That is the problem with a lot of the professional creative class in let's say the United States and conservatives here. So I would love to see a more robust right-leaning or even centrist Hollywood, for lack of a better word, because it's not going to be geographically Hollywood. I just want to see it happen as soon as possible, and not to be something where they say, oh, well, this is conservative, and by the way, it's not very good, but it's conservative, so support it. For your boy, to quote, whatever.
For your boy. Battle's poorly chosen by that guy. Folks, we'll keep an eye on it, but get ready, because if you thought memes were powerful, get ready for short films and movies that speak to the experience of so many who've suffered under the gatekeeping system and under the idea that you're not allowed to say what you actually believe, even when it's kind and good and wholesome and generated from the hope that the world could be a better place.
After these messages, we'll be right back. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? You!
Only the wokies, not Urkel. Leave Urkel alone. It's the wokies out there. Jonas, we've got super chats, and it's time for the Q&A. Folks, type in Q&A in the chat. We're going to take the first 10 of those. Jonas, while you get the super chats, I'll get the Q&As and star those up for us. The first 10 get in. Thank you, folks, for helping us hit that Q&A today.
All righty. First of all, we got Joppy for 50 Swedish crowns. Japan doesn't match EU regulations. They just have entirely different diets, which can't be messed with as much as Western diets. Yes, that's I almost always prefer the non-governmental solution to these issues. If you get the theme here. Bonnie Gamester for 5. I knew Europe was nuts when Belgium banned mobile Animal Crossing Pocket Camp as gambling. Happy 4th, USA, best country in the world.
And what a lovely thing if everybody who lives in their countries thinks the same thing about their nations. But on this show, it's a salute to all nations, but mostly America. Sam Eagle, it's a Sam Eagle reference.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, Tom Nook probably should be investigated for violations of mortgage regulations, though. Wolfle McGruffle the third for 2. Wackadoodle.
Wapoodle. Oh, it's last one silent. We misread it. We should have spoken McGruffalese.
I think it's like a whip crack sound. Wapoodle. Chris A for 10, Web Daily Watch Pro. Daily Watch on the web for entertainment, pop culture, leaks, and analysis.
Yeah, there's strategy to that one.
Yep. And when you want to take a leak, you know where to go. Packing Protons for 5. How to solve the Middle East problem, make oil useless by inventing a fusion car or something renewable, a car that runs on ocean water or something.
Wait a minute. Hydrogen. Never mind. It'll never work.
O2RR. Angel Hickson says, will definitely watch. That's pretty good. I like that one.
That's not bad. Not bad. That might go in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we got here. A turn of praise for 14 South African Rand. Insert the message.
The message. Folks, we got room for 2 more Q&As. 2 more.
Joppy for 200 Swedish crowns. I wrote it as at 2pro in chat, but to reiterate, Netherlands forced gacha in games to show results before purchase, so publishers adapted to that small demographic, but isolated its ability to trade outside of the Netherlands.
Makes sense. Got it. Yeah.
I always prefer that the number charts be listed. Yeah.
I wish they'd force matcha into games instead. It's so delicious.
Forcing it though. I mean, we would want to invest in real life fake matcha though.
Oh yeah.
A turn of praise for 14 South African Rand because someone needs to hear this. You're allowed to be proud to be American.
That's right. And if you're listen, folks, if you're from England, we want things to be such that you can be proud to be English or British. If you're from France, we want you to be proud of being French. There's a lot of great things that comes from all of these places across the world. So don't hold back.
I mean, some countries.
Not all. Folks, we got to stop. If you haven't got your Q&A, the time is up on that one. We've got all the ones in that we can accept. So apologies if you were one character swipe away from having it done, but we got to call it.
Packing Protons for $5. In related news, a tree in a cemetery fell over recently and covered a 100-year-old grave. It grew over.
Well,
was it the Jolly Green Giant?
That was an exciting day at the cemetery. Hey, we found out we've got one more resident. 99 in the cemetery. No, it's 100.
Packing Protons for 2. Jonas, I know to avoid discussing fish now. That's actually an active discussion that we have on the website. Is somebody will throw something in there and we have to go, what account did it come from? So.
Well, the problem is that discussing film and discussing fish, both of those names, at least on my display, ... before you get to the end of it. So you literally have to click on the name to figure out, is it the parody account or is it the real account? Is it the parody account? And so annoying.
Yep. Detail double for 2. Solar panel maintenance blamed for Boyle Heights fire.
Yep.
Maintenance or the solar panels themselves. Packing Protons for 5. Supersized fries in the 90s killed my thinness as a teen. Oh man, but it was wonderful. They used to give you a bucket of soda when you supersized. I loved it. It was fantastic. But then they decided to make the food. They go with these seed oils and all that mess.
If you want to know why Americans gained weight starting in the 90s and the 2000s, it's because we all discovered that French fries actually do go with ice cream. Who knew?
Frosties and French fries. I invented that. Rowan Estrada for $2. That animation is super relatable. My heart hurts.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Gilliam 2 for 5. Wow, that is a great little animation. Happy 250th 4th, everyone.
That's right. Happy 250th to all of our American viewers. And get out there and have fireworks, hamburgers, hot dogs, have a good time, jump in the pool, enjoy it. It's called summer.
DL Racer for $20. I would very much like to invite Josh to watch the official Snouts promotional trailer. The whole heart of Snouts is about people rejecting the pressure of socially engineered division because they love their dogs.
That's an interesting opportunity that might exist out there. So let's see how that goes. But, sometimes the marriage of tech and opportunity just happens to be fortuitous in the moment.
Let's see here. Packing Protons for $10. I tried in video. I somehow used up all 100 credits and barely made one short. Online users seem to think it's a scam, and that happens on purpose to get you to spend more. Great system, though. Well, it is a demo.
Seems like there's a skill level that might take a lot of money to get to that point where you can do what Josh Dawes is doing.
Mm-hmm. Archer Merchant for $5. I also got bored and reactivated my Fortuitous Gaming tabletop channel, finding a bit more time on my hands lately, especially avoiding these new movies.
That is so cool. I'm very excited. Archer, put it in the chat. Let us know what the name of that channel is. I'd love to check it out.
Yep. Let's see if we got any more here. No, I think that is it. Go ahead, bro.
All right, it's time to hit the Q&As, ladies and gentlemen, and see what you have to say. You sent these in as a result of us hitting that Super Chat goal. Mike says, can you please comment on the cultural zeitgeist movie overlap in 2012, Nukes in Avengers and The Dark Knight Rises in 2016, manipulative villain behind heroes conflict in Captain America Civil War, and Bats versus Superman? Okay, so I would say that in 2016, we had not yet entered truly into the woke era in movies because those films were developed just slightly before that had happened, but you start to see the undertones of that belief system coming in. Batman versus Superman, I think it's just a really bad movie and poorly conceived. But you're exactly right. A lot of people don't know this. The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, actually, The Dark Knight is, Jonas, would you say it's one of the most conservative superhero films ever made, given that it actually is Bruce Wayne realizing the overreach and control, the power that can be had, and kind of pulling a George Washington where he says, I'm not going to surveil Gotham City?
Yeah, I would agree. What's interesting in all of that is it seemed to be a comment on the Patriot Act, even, which is probably why Hollywood was fine with it. As a conservative, I was not really crazy about the Patriot Act, but you get a bunch of Republicans trying to message in the same direction, and I'm saying capital R Republicans, as in people who are members of the party, didn't appreciate it much. So it actually does espouse true value as far as conservative values go.
And by the way, you can actually track exactly where Hollywood goes off the rails to the first Trump election. So 2016 happens, right? Okay. What's the first movie then that comes out in the superhero genre that's gone, it's full production, full development, it's progressed completely since that point, since so many in Hollywood lost their minds because they said this is never going to happen. And they had largely seen President Obama as a messianic figure. So then the idea to them that anybody who disagreed with the messianic figure was going to take over afterwards and undo that, that was like Lucifer coming into the White House to them. Now, obviously they were thinking religiously and not logically at that point. And so they had put religion into politics, and that's not a good idea at all. That's metastasized. But the first film that comes in the superhero genre following the election of President Trump, the first film that goes into development is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel comes out in 2019, and it's actually rushed into production to come out before the Avengers movie, and it's used as a in-betweener there. So 3-year development time. Captain Marvel's the first one, and then everything after those Avengers films, which had been planned out for a while, everything afterwards in Marvel goes down that woke path. And that's because it takes 3 years to gestate these films and bring them into the market. So you can track down exactly where Hollywood lost its mind and when the impact happens. Chief William Schweikert, we once had the wonderful world of Disney, so what kind of wonderful world does Pro want? Wonderful daring world? Please make an intro video for Nat. I think Nat deserves massively, not only that, but an emoji. We got to get that going. What kind of wonderful world does Pro want? I want a wonderful world where everybody out there finds meaning and purpose and chooses a responsibility that means a lot to them. How's that? Blue Sharky says, I want to destroy these anti-human ideas, but it feels like no matter how much I close my wallet or vote for better people, it doesn't help. What should we do to make these freaks lose their faith in the bad things? Well, partly what you do is you get your own home in order. And then if you can do that, then the homes around you might be put in some better order. You never want to help somebody when you have a problem that you're trying to help them with. So that's the whole idea of having something in your eye and trying to fish something out of somebody else's eye. It's not a great idea. It's a metaphor for something important, which is that you need to be in engaging in the world you need to be forthright with your own problems and not try to pretend that you're perfect and others are, imperfect, and you're the right person to come along and teach them perfection when you don't have it. But that said, it scales out. If you can put your own home in order, then you might be able to assist others beyond your own home. But until your own home is in order, that's really not a possibility. And then the more and more responsibility you take on, the more that scales out, and you might become the kind of person who can help an entire community or neighborhood or your entire church or your entire organization. You might be able to take on creating your own business, or you might be the kind of person who adopts more children. And you build upon this. And the more of us who do this sort of thing, the more that society is fixed. But it all starts at home. We've got Tall, Dark, and Handsome. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Not much. I'm not a fan of those things. They're just ice cream with chocolate. Happy birthday, America! God bless and stay safe this weekend. Yens. That's Pittsburghese for you all. There you go. Jonas, what would you do for a Klondike bar? You love those things?
If I wasn't trying to eat healthier, I would pay retail.
Nat, are you a Klondike bar fan? You like the vanilla ice cream and chocolate?
I'm not a huge ice cream fan in general.
See, I would do a lot for a butterscotch malt. That's my ice cream go-to. Irate says, what book series would you like to see made into a movie series? What book series would you like to see? I want to see the Rippaverse start getting some releases online, at least in animated or live action form.
I bet Red Rising is probably going to get an adaptation at some point. It's like Roman Empire in space kind of stuff.
Nat, any thoughts from you on that one?
They've kind of made them already, the ones I could have consumed. I'm still a huge advocate for bringing back actual rom-coms. That's a hill I will die on, but that's what I want to see made.
Get J-Lo back out there, eh?
No, not without J-Lo.
Beyond Rippaverse, I would say too, I used to really like the lore that was built up around the Mech Warrior game series, and I know that started off before that, even as a tabletop game. But I don't want them to touch it because I think Hollywood will destroy it, and they've already done plenty of damage to that franchise. Thanks, Microsoft. Bad News Badger, what happened to entertainment staying in the political center? Well, that would be the best place for it to be. Yes, exactly. But see, I'm not advocating for all entertainment to be removed from the left and right. I'm advocating for blockbusters and the things that need to make the most money being in the mainstream middle of the sensible center where money is made. You can still make stuff for the left and the right. You just have to understand that when you do so, that you're not going to make as much money because you're now into a niche area. And also, if you're doing that with a beloved franchise, then you are cutting out 67%, probably, at least, of the audience, and that's abrasive. So don't do that with existing IPs that have been set for general audiences, and don't do it with big things that need to make a lot of money back. But if you're making your own stuff, have at it. Do whatever you want. AOC, you want to make a cartoon? Cool. Tulsi Gabbard, you want to make your own cartoon? Cool. And you all can set it however you'd like. Chris says, did you know you can use the browser Brave to automatically hide ads when you're sharing? Yes, we do. The reason we don't do that on StreamYard when we're doing the show is because StreamYard does not play along with Brave as well as it does with Chrome. So they're into the weeds. Planet AB says, any advice for one wanting to get into making AI media, but is dirt poor cheap? I would recommend that you go and do it on Grok. I think penny for penny, Grok is probably the cheapest, most efficient, and it still produces darn good generations. We've got Bonnie Gamester says, Southeast Game Con schedule. Sorry to be a broken record. Yeah, we can share that a little bit. Let me get the thing up on the screen here. Let's see. Where did it go? Did I remove the Southeast Game Exchange tab?
What did you do?
No, I've done it. I've ruined everything. My understanding is that Fake Wizard and I will be signing autographs and doing a meet and greet on Sunday afternoon. I think that there's going to be a pro show live on the Friday, and then you can meet people like Culture Casino, Valiant Renegade, Force of Light on Saturday, and so many more. But I and Wizard will be doing a meet and greet, signing autographs on the Sunday afternoon. So come hang out. We'll be around most of the time, every single day, and we'll be showing off the brand new game and more. We also, Jonas, will be making a major announcement that weekend at Southeast Game Exchange.
It'll be
huge
super.
announcement.
Yeah, it'll be great.
No. Go ahead and do your tease that nobody knows yet.
What?
I heard what you did.
I told you we're not doing a T brand.
Pixel Ghost, favorite novel.
The Hobbit.
All right. That was fast. Nat?
It's the best.
I don't read that much fiction. I'm terrible for these questions. I mean, I guess the last one I read was Harry Potter. That was a while ago.
Does Green Eggs and Ham count? Because that changed my life. No, I'm kidding. I'm going
to say the last one I read was also Harry Potter, but the Hobbit is my favorite.
So it's hard to pick your favorite because how about this? How about I do this way? Because I mean, to figure out, I know my favorite movie, but my favorite novel is a little bit harder. Different times in my life, I've read different novels and they've had different impacts. The most fun that I recall ever having with a novel. Okay, so I'm not saying it's the best novel.
A novel
I'm telling
experience.
You, at that time in my life, the most fun I ever had reading a novel from front to back was Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. I loved reading that novel from front to end, and I had seen the movie first. So the book is so much deeper and more in depth, and I had just the best time. That was on a vacation where I read it throughout the vacation, and I could not put it down. So great time reading that one. Bad News Badger wraps us up today. For 50 crowns, you can only get canceled if you care about getting canceled. Well, I'm not going to volunteer to go to the stockades or to any other way of being canceled, aka deleted. I'll tell you that. All right, Nat, folks should be checking you out over on Nat and the Guy. It's here on YouTube. Tell the folks out there what they'll get if they subscribe today.
Thank you so much. So we are doing a live show Monday through Saturday at 5 p.m. And now we're also coming up with educational videos for people that might not know everything about Alberta independence, because we are really big advocates for that and we'll continue to fight for it.
There you
Thank you so
go.
much for having me again. And happy Independence Day to everybody as well in America.
Thank you so. And Jonas J. Campbell, will you be doing hamburgers or hot dogs for Independence Weekend and the 250th?
I'm going to go with the classic improv phrase, yes and.
Oh, we're doing a twofer. We're doing hamburgers and hot dogs.
I'm mostly meatitarian these days, so yes.
Now wait a minute. You're mostly. So let me ask you this: does avocado belong on a hamburger?
Yeah. If I can, I could, but I might as well eat it separately. But yeah, you could put avocado or egg. Have you ever had egg on a hamburger?
Egg on a burger is great. Wait. Nat says no to egg on a burger.
No.
No,
I say no to avocado on a burger.
Oh.
I say yes to an egg.
I love avocado
and
on a
I
burger.
say yes to both. You need both.
If it's a stiff avocado, probably not. It needs to be one that is pliable enough that it's not interfering with
avocado. What makes you think you're so holy?
Eat avocados.
You're gonna be guacamole before too long. Hey Jonas, what do you put on your hot dogs?
Mayo.
Just mayo?
Avocado mayo, actually.
I'm a coleslaw guy. I say coleslaw goes on the hot dog.
Not relish, but
I can be a relish guy too. Folks, tell us in the chat out there, what do you enjoy when it comes to Independence Day and your celebrations? It doesn't have to be. Listen, if you're not an American, put down what you like to have when your country's birthday comes around. We'd love to hear from you. And folks, get out there, have a good time. Make sure you keep all your fingers, all your toes, and protect the kiddos. But go watch the Boom Booms. Have a good time. Folks, it's been a great time spending time with you. Thank you once again. We'll see you soon, my friends. Supergirl not going to do well. Minions, shockingly better than we ever anticipated. And the box office still wishing they had never gone woke.
The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are...
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still he got back to his feet. Standing man.